Really?
Bless you.
Really?
Bless you, bless you, bless you.
God.
That's classic.
That's
Why
what
didn't you why didn't you hold that for the episode?
that's what I want everybody to hear when they first turn on the show is a burp.
Like, try to force that now.
Ugh.
Try to force that.
Oh, but anyway, this is Game Set Live. Thank you all for showing up yet another Thursday for some shenanigans, good vibes, and gaming news. We got no, 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 no. We're not, and we're not going to be toxic either. Weapon X Machina.
Alright.
Yeah,
Wait.
Not
Wait,
going to be
we are going
toxic.
to be toxic. So what are we doing here?
Well, shut up. We're not going to be toxic.
Talk on Twitter, right?
Are we supposed to like what?
But we have a loaded show. The whole panel shows up, and I got a guest. So we are packed. So we're gonna hop right into the intros because I don't want to be here for the next 3 hours. Fabio Amore, sir.
Fabio Amor. Fabio Amor.
I'm sorry, Fabio Amorim.
Much better. Thank you very much.
What have you been playing, and how have you been doing?
I've been doing great. Just a lot of stuff here to take care of. That chemistry master's degree is not gonna get by itself. And what I've been playing, as always, Halo, because yeah, Halo is Halo as always. I've been playing also NBA 2K23, and I've just started tonight to play a tiny little bit of MLB The Show 23. Now that the baseball season has started today.
I really wish I could get into that game.
Go Cubbies! Yeah. Okay, go on.
Mr. Bushido, Game Genie Prime.
Yes,
Sir.
yes.
What have you been playing, and how are you doing, sir? You sound pretty good.
Not too bad. Yeah. I'm doing pretty good. I have been playing Wild Hearts still. Any game with loot or chasing some monster to kill it to get their skins to make new armor or new weapons, you got me. As long as you keep giving it to me, you got me. Pause. But at the same time, I've also been playing a little bit of Halo Season 3, which has been crazy, crazy fun. And
Mm-hmm.
I am waiting to. I'm at the last monster I'm supposed to fight. And once I beat this monster, I'm going to start Resident Evil 4 remake. And I think that's it for this month. I got to hurry up because once Jedi Survivor hits the streets, that's just in game right there. So.
Yes, this is true. I may not be as hooked on Jedi Survivor as other people because I am a big zombie fan and I have a zombie game coming out next month. So I will be knee deep in Dead Island 2. Noof Nukem, sir, what have you been playing? I've seen your tweets. You're in love with your PSVR 2. So tell us what you've been playing on it and how are you doing?
Well, I've been playing Horizon Call of the Mountain on it, a little bit of GT7, but mostly last week or so I've been dabbling in the retro goodness that is the Resident Evil franchise back, kind of repicked up Resident Evil 2 remake, going through that, just finished that up. I'm going to probably try to do the Claire campaign on that, and then jump into Resident Evil 3 and hopefully pick up 4 down the road here. So that's kind of what I've been doing, just all over the board lately, just having a good time, man, playing games.
That's right. That's what it's all about, brother. And our guest this week, Red Dead Panda. So excited to get you on. New Zealand, Aussie. I just love the
New
sound.
Zealand.
Yeah, I'm sorry, New Zealand, Aussie. I just love the sound of all of you.
Middle Earth.
No
I
words.
just need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have hobbit feet, so I guess I've got that going for me. I have. Well, thank you first of all for having me on as a guest. I've been wanting to guest for a while, but obviously the time zone difference is fun.
Right.
But what have I been playing? I just finished Hogwarts. I'm not gonna 100% the game, but like I've basically completed everything I wanted to complete in it. And then I started Far Cry 5. It's the only Far Cry I've actually been interested in playing, so I started that on cloud and I've now installed it onto my console. So I've been
You
playing
never,
that. Yeah.
you never played the third game?
I've never played any of the Far Cry games. No, this one's the only one that's interesting
Hmm,
me.
Like
The
interesting.
third one is
The-
the
Interesting.
best, in my
The third
opinion.
one is like
The
yeah,
one
I
on the
agree with
mountains
that.
and like.
No, 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 the one on the island, just like Lost.
Yep.
Aren't they all on the island though?
No, no, like the fourth game is on the mountains.
On an
There's
island.
after that there is Far Cry Primal, which is
Primal. Yeah.
Caveman. There's also this one, 5, which is I don't know where is it
It's like
actually.
rural
I
you.
didn't.
It's like rural United States.
Yeah, it's like a farm. It's like a
Oh
farm
yeah,
or
yeah, the
something like that.
Birdlands type one. That's right. That's right.
Far
I
Cry
wanted Far Cry
5
to be
kind of
good. I
reminds
can't
me of
stand
where I
Far
live
Cry.
at, if you're curious. So
So you guys have a priest that runs the town, and
no,
you guys.
And
no.
tries to
Okay,
kill
okay.
everybody.
Let me rephrase myself.
What?
Minus the
I mean,
religious radicals, it reminds me
mean,
of where I
what?
live.
I mean, what would you expect from a Cleveland Browns fan?
Oh come on! Why you gotta? I hope we play you next year. We're gonna kick your ass.
Probably we will. Probably we will. You want to bet that? No, just kidding.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
about them Fruit of the Loom Browns.
Ultimus Gaming,
Freedom.
sir. How have you been, and what have you been playing?
I've been as good as I can be. Just playing the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Can't stop playing that.
Awesome.
As we talked last podcast, I never played the first game. I played everything else. I never played the first game. So I finished up the first game, loved it, rolled into Mass Effect 2 in this playthrough, finished that, and now I'm on Mass Effect 3. I'm going to just do the whole thing straight through once again. So just having fun doing that.
One of these days,
Nice.
I'll get around to that. I really will. I promise.
I just don't like your tone the way you just said that. Like it's like dripping with disrespect
I was
on this.
no. I have a
Yeah,
very
bro.
good
Incredible
reason.
trilogy.
Very good reason. I was playing through the Dead Space games when Mass Effect was hitting its stride. Yeah,
Nah, I'm still not. Nah, I can't. I
I've
just
never said anything
can't.
bad about the game. I've only ever
No,
given
but
it praise.
it's like your tone. Your tone is like it doesn't have enough
Yeah.
respect on it. But I'm gonna let it
You're
slide for
talking
now.
about my
We'll talk
game all wrong.
Xbox
It's
Live.
the wrong tone.
I
Do
mean,
it again, I'll stab you in the
I
face
mean-
with a soldering iron.
just like the tone that he usually does when it's only the panel members and no guests in the show. Like, and I'm here with the same people
Yeah.
as always.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
I
it's
don't
exactly
do
like that.
that.
Look at that. He doesn't have an excuse for it. Good one,
Just
Bob.
quiet.
All the time.
Good one,
We got
Fabio. Good
We should've-
one.
All right.
We got him.
Yeah.
Weapon
I got
X
it.
Machina. Sir, how have you been
Please
doing?
just
We
go
know
right now.
that you barely made the show because of some auto troubles. Have you been able to push life out of the way enough to play any game, sir?
A little bit. I played Diablo IV Open Beta. That was this past weekend, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played that, and that was pretty good. And then I was going to go back and do Diablo 2 Resurrected on Xbox, but then I noticed that Activision Blizzard was having this big sale, and I don't know why, but something just like struck me like not to purchase any Activision Blizzard games right now because I just have this weird feeling that within the next couple of months I'm going to see all those games in Game Pass. So I'm going to hold off on that, and unless I just get really bored or something. But I've been really on a Diablo kick ever since I played 4. I can't really cure that itch after I lost access to the beta.
I
You
know,
know what I mean?
right?
So
I'm having withdrawals
yeah,
over
it's-
here.
it's
When does Diablo 4 gets
The
released?
first week of June.
June 6th.
first week of June.
Why does it take so long?
I
got all
know,
those bugs
and
to
I think
fix.
April.
as you
April
can
and
see
May.
on screen here, this is open beta gameplay with me, and I was playing with Boba Fett Gaming. And
Awesome.
the game plays flawlessly. So
Oh, you
why are we
play
waiting
some
2 more months?
Interesting.
Well, I think that they
Bug testing.
it was a server stress, really. I think they just want to make sure they can handle all the people that are going to be playing this thing because it's going to be in the millions, man. Like, there's going to be millions of people that are going to be jumping on day one.
It's all
To
cross-platform,
play.
so I guess they were stress
Wait.
testing, and they have to.
Yeah.
Have to.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
do an open
I
beta
mean-
when they put it online.
I mean,
Yeah,
let's
cross
just.
cross save and cross play too. You know what I mean? So
I mean,
there's going to be a lot of people.
let's just hope that they don't make the same mistake as the previous game where we had the auction house. Like, it just made the idea behind Diablo pointless. Like, instead of farming and grinding to get new gear and do the quests, you just pay real money.
Yeah, I think they learned their lesson there. I think the monetization is really going to come from like battle pass cosmetics and mounts, and it seems like they're taking a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of MMO in this action RPG. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily mind it as long as it's fair. You know,
True.
and as long as it respects your time. A lot of MMOs don't respect your time. So as long as they continue to respect your time and
I agree.
you know the time investment that you do put in is like it's a weird balance of like trying to find, you know, I did the time, but also like I'm not feeling like I'm wasting my time. You know what I mean? And there's a very delicate balance when you play games like this. And so far it feels good. They did say Rod Ferguson went out and did say that the legendary drop rate was like accelerated pretty heavy, right? To let everybody get legendaries and kind of feel them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that a lot of people were concerned about, you know, loot just dropping far too often, and he already addressed that. So
Yeah.
it seems like they're really on the ball with the community feedback.
So basically, they are going to do like what EA did with Anthem.
No!
No.
No!
Going to
God,
be
I hope
Mm-mm.
not.
no, but I mean, in terms of loot drop, wasn't
No.
Anthem having this kind of issue where before
No.
it has a certain drop lot ratio and then they just fuck that up and it's
No,
like impossible
you're thinking
to get?
about.
No,
I think you're thinking about Outriders. Outriders had that in the beginning, and they had to fix that.
Yeah, Outriders had a drop issue.
Yeah,
Hey.
and now they didn't have that problem with as far as when I play Anthem. No, go ahead, Serena. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that they actually said, like, during the beta that the drop rate was going to be higher just
Nice.
for the betas. So they are going to drop it back in line with
Uh-huh.
some of the other Diablo games. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, because I was getting a lot of legendaries. Like you'll see in the gameplay here throughout the show. I have like at one time I think I had 8 or 9 legendaries on me at once, and it was crazy. I literally. There was so much loot, you would have to, if you didn't go back to town and sell everything that you tagged as junk, when you went into a dungeon, 5 minutes in the dungeon, you had to dump all the crap into the floor because you couldn't carry anything else. It was
That's why you
crazy.
just, like, teleport back to town, sell it all, then go back through the portal and then jump back into it, which is a pain in the butt, but, like, if you wanted to do it that way, you could.
Yeah, that's what I normally do. I would just, if I forgot to break everything down, you just hit a quick teleport back to town, bust everything down, and just continue on with the dungeon. You know.
Oh God, chat, you're funny. Shout out to those in the chat, Red Wolf and FarQ, having a good time. I see. Got Thember in there, the lone moderator who's not a panelist. He's beating them down and keeping the streets safe for everybody in the chat. We also got Palpatine in the chat. What's up, Palpatine? And General Spartan 27. Never seen you in the chat, sir. I hope you enjoy. And there's that Laura Hinkle again. I don't know why she keeps stopping by here, but thank you for stopping by, Laura Hinkle. And Gone Mad in the chat. All right. That rounds
Keep
up.
asking probably to call me baby and tell me I'm beautiful in public. I keep telling her that's
my
uncomfortable.
gosh. So yeah. What Smash
Ha
that,
ha ha ha!
smash that
You
like
guys are
button.
so
Tell a buddy or two. We're gonna get going on our topics. And the topic, the very first topic, it cues right into what have I been playing and how have I been. I played a lot. I probably played too much Diablo 4 over the weekend because it created a major addiction. And now I am feeling the withdrawals. I got my characters up to level 20 so that I could get all the cosmetic stuff that you get with the full release if you've gotten a character to level 20 in the beta. Put it like this. I was bouncing around between character classes, and when I came home from work Sunday, I had 3 hours to sit down, pick one of the classes I had been playing, and get it to level 20. I picked the Sorcerer because he was the closest to 20, but he was still at only level 11. And I ground 9 levels in a little over 2.5 hours. Just so that I could make sure I had a level 20 player before the beta ended. And in doing that, the next morning, I was thinking about playing Diablo 4 when I got home. And I realized, you can't do that, Bob. It's gone. It's gone away for 2 months, and I'm crushed. Power, you feel my
Wait,
pain?
I thought your leveling doesn't keep, you don't keep your level from the
You
beta.
don't
Is that
keep your level, but they have.
okay?
There are going to be special cosmetic items and banners that if you got a character to level 20, you will receive those on the
Gotcha.
release of the game.
Gotcha. Sounds worth it to me.
And I wanted them, so but now I can't play it no more. I was even sitting down editing this gameplay yesterday and just going through and scrubbing out the load screens and all the crap. I wanted to just turn my Xbox on and play some more, and I couldn't do it. Power man, I need a hug. Help me.
Yeah, man, I feel your pain, dude. Like, it's one of those. That's gonna be one of those games where, a lot of my comments after June are gonna be pretty boring because everything that I'm gonna be playing is probably gonna involve Diablo in some manner.
At least
So, like,
until
once
September.
after June 6th, there's no point in asking me what I've been playing because it's gonna be Diablo for most of the summer. I remember whenever Diablo 3 first came out, I took a whole summer and I just destroyed that game.
Yeah.
Played everything, did the seasons, and just did everything. And then I think I went really hard on it on Diablo 3 whenever the Reaper of Souls expansion, whenever they dropped the Necromancer. So I got back into it really hard with that one, and then with this game, like, man, it's such a cool mix of, like, it's like they took everything from the Diablo 2 that was awesome, and then they took a little bit of the mechanics and the gameplay aspect that I liked about Diablo 3, and then added a little bit of extra that we haven't seen before, and kind of made this game. And I was actually surprisingly, like, you can only see Act 1. You know what I mean?
Right.
But man, like, the cutscenes, I was so impressed. I mean, I know it's Blizzard, and I shouldn't be as impressed, but, like, I'm just always blown away by, like, how good the cutscenes and even, like, the in-game cutscenes that show Lilith and Inarius and, like, all the different aspects of angels and demons that are, like, surrounding it. Like, it's so good, and you could just tell that they put so much into it. And like I said, I'm a huge Rod Ferguson fan, man. He carried me as far as the Gears franchise was concerned. I think those were, like, the best years for Gears, was with him. And like I said, as soon as I heard he was going to go over there and messing with Diablo, I was like, man, this game's in good hands. It's in really good hands, So I can't be more excited about a game right now. I don't know if there's a game on my radar as hard as Diablo is. And like I said, man, that game comes out. That's it for me. Like, you don't even ask me that question at the beginning of the show. Like, the answer to that question.
Shout out to Red Wolf in the chat. Break away from the main topic real quick. Content creators right now are kind of under fire from YouTube. Womanhood posted on Twitter today that if you go to Womanhood's channel, I got the notification earlier this morning that my membership to his channel had been put on pause. And then when you go to his channel, there's nothing on there that's newer than 6 months. He got hit with some crazy copyright thing. And I don't know what it's for, but I mean, I always make sure that when I have gameplay, I fade in and fade out. I don't show any load screens, no still images, because still images, that's art. That's copyrighted. No title screens, no developer screens, none of that. Just fade in, fade out of gameplay. Because I feel like, they do it on Twitch. Because if it's something that corresponds with an action that I'm doing, then I own it. That's my content. But anyway, shout out to Red Wolf. He said that I should get this trailer and show it to the panel, and I will behind closed scenes. I know in the past I have pulled a trailer off of YouTube through screen capture and shown it during the show, and until we know what these new rules are on YouTube, I will not be doing that. So I do have it written down, though. Thank you, Red Wolf. I'll look it up. It's a Diablo clone.
You have to warn them before they did anything, though.
I know they didn't even warn him, and he's got to do a video. He has to send in a video in order to get reinstated.
Did you guys see they were doing a Series X bundle?
Yeah.
They got a game. It's a normal, kind of a missed opportunity. I would have loved to have seen a Diablo 4 inspired Series X, man. How cool would that have been,
There is one.
Probably they are going to be doing as they did before, just a Series S version.
Nope.
Because it's way simpler.
It's on the topics, guys. They are making a special edition Diablo 4 Series X.
Well, yeah, the one that I saw is just a normal Series X with the game.
Yes,
Normal
exactly.
bundle,
I saw that.
That's the one I saw.
And it just has. So what it has is it's okay for I think $5.59. You're getting what's essentially the not the ultimate tier of Diablo 4, but the one that's in the middle, the $90 tier. So you're essentially getting that tier. So you get the Xbox, which is, from what I understand, a normal Xbox, and then you get the mount and a couple of the extra, items and stuff like that. But I could, because Diablo is one of those games that I think would translate really well into a special edition console. I just think that you could just really go crazy.
So I have the actual article up right here. And so this publication, of course, they don't know what the console looks like yet. So of course they're showing, if you look at it, they're showing just the console and the controller. It's basically the way it looked when they first revealed the console. And the article says the Xbox Series X will soon be receiving a limited edition console, not bundle, to celebrate the upcoming release of Diablo 4. Since the debut of the original Xbox, Microsoft has often experimented with different console variations for the console line based on popular games. Yeah, so this looks like it's going to actually be a limited edition console. And the article, which is several paragraphs, mentions nothing about a PS5 Diablo 4.
I wouldn't assume it would be.
Well, yeah, I mean, they don't have. Well, I think that's just a marketing thing, right? Whenever PlayStation.
It could be a marketing thing, but you could look a little deeper into that too, because we've already.
With Hogwarts, I remember PlayStation. They basically did everything they could to try to convince people that Hogwarts was only on PlayStation.
Right.
Because that's a console mover, so.
But I think in this instance, you wouldn't be able to get that going because this deal has already been in place for about a year and a half, I guess you could say. About I don't know how many years before it gets announced, but it's been in place for a while. So it's not like during that time frame, PlayStation could have come in and swooped in and got that underneath Xbox's nose as usual. But this time, they've already, they've beaten them to the punch as far as acquiring a whole studio. And plus, too, I'm not so sure if PlayStation guys, not saying that they're not gamers, not saying that they don't play games, but I don't know if that's necessarily a PlayStation guy type of game too. But I might be wrong, and I'm just swinging the fences.
Hey, Twitter
Yeah.
is a very addictive game.
Like House of Cards, House of Twitter. But yeah, okay.
So, besides me and Power Man, aka Weapon X Machina, has anybody else indulged in either of the 2 beta weekends that we just experienced?
Sorry I wasn't able to.
I loved it. It was so good. It was so addictive. It was buggy. There definitely were bugs, but
But
it
it's a
was
beta.
yeah, it's expected. I think I ran into one of the bugs where you get like if the game errors at all when you try and turn it back on, it changes the language to Chinese.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember you mentioning that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I figured out how to change it back.
you
I
had to do?
had to go. I had to like translate. I just used my phone translator and like was just
Yep.
using that in
Yeah.
the menus to work it out. Yeah, that was fun. And so I don't know if
Nice.
that was just impacting
No, no.
Xbox gamers, but
No, here's the thing. No. Let's now discuss about this. Diablo is a game so good that not only makes you have fun because of its addictive nature, but it also is making you learn a new language.
Yes.
Who
What
does
the
go.
game
love
does
to
that?
learn
Educational.
Mandarin? Exactly.
We all love education on Game Set Live. Yeah.
Exactly. Education is the future.
Oh,
Exactly.
goodness.
I
Let's
dabbled
talk about
with
chemistry.
I dabbled with the Necromancer because it wasn't in the closed beta, and that class is wicked. I love it. I loved the Necromancer in Diablo 3, so I'm glad it's coming into Diablo 4. I tried the Druid and the Wizard, and even the Barbarian. I think the only one I didn't try was the Rogue class. I was always a Crusader fan in Diablo 3, so I'm hoping Crusader eventually shows up in Diablo 4 later on. Yeah.
What classes does the game offer? Like, do we have the Templar back?
No,
No.
not currently. No.
Yeah, see,
Ah.
I want to jump in. So I think that I think that it's been purposely done that way. If you'll notice with all the classes, a lot of them that are like light class leaning, like monk, crusader, or whatever they call it, were I think purposely left out. And my guess is, and we can only speculate because of the story, but I think it's going to have a lot to do with Inarius, right? Because a lot of the light classes, monks, a lot of it falls from and all back to Inarius because he's the father of the light who went to hell and is trying to find his way back into heaven. So I think that eventually we're going to see like a big major expansion or maybe even 2. Now with like the live service aspect of it, they could go as far and as hard as they want. So it wouldn't make any sense for them to just put every class that you can think of in there.
No.
When 6 months from now, it could be a new class with a new season, with a new battle pass, and that's a really good cadence of content. So I wouldn't be surprised if now we've gotten a lot of darkness, and I think the next couple are going to be whatever variation of monk, whatever variation of crusader, maybe like a priest of some kind, or like a scholar.
Shout out to Tool Man in the chat. I experienced one bug, and that was not in the closed beta weekend because you couldn't play as the Druid or the Necromancer in the closed beta. They only made them available for the open beta weekend, which was the second weekend. And I experienced a bug when I was using my sorcerer, and I would join up in one of those public events that just pop up randomly in the map. And, they're outlined on the map with a gold circle, and you just go and you join the event. Well, I jumped into this event that had 2 necromancers, and they had these
Skeletons?
these summoned skeletons all over the place. And it didn't dawn on me right away that I was trying to attack one of their summoned creatures because my spells were actually affecting their summoned creatures. It's almost like the game got confused with what was summoned and what was supposed to be there, and so my lightning was going everywhere. It was crazy. But it got really confusing too. I was like, what is an enemy and what's not an enemy? It was pretty wild.
Did you have the highlights on the characters up? Like, not your main character, like, but you could highlight who the bad guys are, or highlight any items or anything like that if you wanted when you're running around world, just to make it easier.
No.
Mm.
No.
Helpful tool when you're like playing with so many people, because I loved the I was playing online with some friends, and then I loved the fact that you could still play with other people in the open world in those world events as well, and that was really wicked.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to it, and I wanted to play it on Monday, and I couldn't.
Bob
like,
played
why?
during the closed beta for a whole day with just melee attacks from the sorcerer because he didn't know how to assign spells.
I just want to say that this is proving that Bobby really likes this game, because Bobby's never talked this long about a game at all.
Bobby really likes this game. Wait until Dead Island 2 comes out next week. Man, I'm not gonna shut up.
Already makes us shut up because every time we say something, you shut the hell up.
Oh, see, that's just not right. That's rude. You gotta be nice. Be nice.
Bushido and I were making fun out of you, and you just told us to shut the hell up.
I don't know if that was the exact word.
Ultimus Gaming, did you get to play Diablo?
No, I didn't have a chance. I typically don't do betas a lot anymore. I typically wait to the full game, so I'll just see how it is when we get there. That's my plan.
Noof Nukem, you interested? Excited? What do you think?
Nope.
Really?
Quick answer. That's the best answer possible.
Wow.
No, my excitement for Diablo is probably like less than 10%. I might play it eventually if it's cheap or some fucking thing. I might pick it up and just dabble with it. But I tried this Diablo 3 and just
What about if it's on GP? Now that you're a newly acclaimed GP, Game Pass follower, what about if it's on Game Pass?
If I'm going to try it, it's probably going to have to be like right when it launches, because yes, I do have a Game Pass. I can. Well, but it's not going in Game Pass, right?
I may say,
well, I'm gonna call it now.
Eventually, it will. I think, yeah.
6 months after release.
yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what happens there, right? It'll come to Game Pass. Yeah, it'll come to Game Pass. No one will want to play it. I'll be left out freaking dry again. And we're just done. That's everything that happens when I don't jump on some of these games nobody wants to play. And they're meant to be played with friends. They're way better with friends, at least I think so, because I found Diablo can be a lot more fun when I play with friends. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's just not one of those games that moves my needle. You know what I mean? Sorry.
I'm going to be getting Twitter
I'll
blasts
say this
now.
for posterity. I will 100% play Diablo 3 and 4 with you dudes. Just let me know. I keep them on the Xbox all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, my Diablo 3 is always
Like he
it's on
was
the
ready
Xbox.
for.
Really?
Yeah.
Like he was ready for this moment. I'm just imagining like Barman having Diablo 3 in his hard drive, like thinking one day.
Most of the time,
One
I use the LFG, man, and that's one thing I've always praised Xbox for is their LFG system. I think it's awesome. You know, like going in, especially with like games like Destiny, Diablo 3, anything live service or stuff you like need people for, and you don't have friends that
You don't
play
have
those
friends.
games, man.
That's it.
Don't. Yeah, I mean, if you just a lot of times people just aren't playing the things that you're playing. So like, you know, Xbox's LFG system is really awesome. So, I was always able to, you know, link up with people like that. But I will say this: I don't think that Diablo 4 is going to have that problem, dude. And I'll tell you why. Is because there's a couple things that it has that Diablo 3 didn't have. And number one, it's got a more mature Diablo 2 inspired feel. And old school Diablo players are already more excited about that than they were about Diablo 3. A lot of people complained that it was too cartoony, a little too, I don't know. But dated,
Arcadey,
I
right?
guess. Arcadey, yeah, I guess is the word I could say.
Hmm.
So it has a lot of that going for it. This one's a lot darker. Also, you got to think cross save, cross play, right? So everybody that starts Diablo has to create a BattleNet, and with that BattleNet account, you're able to cross, with, across multiple. This is where Destiny, going free to play, and all the other battle royales, that's where they really shine. Is you being able to play. If you want to play on your PlayStation and I want to be on my Xbox, we're good as gold, man. Just link up and we get each other's BattleNet account, and then we're good to go. So people aren't going to have those barriers separating them from consoles, PC, and whoever. And the fact that it's an open living world. People are running around. It's the craziest thing about Diablo 4 for me is like I'm going through and I'm fighting bosses, and then here comes this other guy. I'm like, whoa, there's another human being in my Diablo game. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Hop in.
Because normally old Diablos was like isolating and almost like part of the fear aspect of it was the fact that you're a lone person in this dungeon full of demons. But I kind of like it. I kind of like that there's more people in it. But
yeah, you brought up a good
you
point.
got that phones, don't you? Remember that line from that BlizzCon?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
The one where it's like, hey, besides, you guys all have phones, don't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. We don't speak about that Diablo, okay?
I was like, wow, how tone deaf can you be? That was the beginning of us knowing how bad they were in the inside. Like,
I felt so bad. I felt
everything.
so bad for him, man, because they sent him up there like a lamb to the slaughter.
No,
And
I didn't feel bad for him
knew,
because he had to go there. If you'd
I
have went
mean,
up there and they just booed him, and he did his best, then I'll be with you. But come on, man, you can't go that route. Like, hey, listen, you guys got phones, don't you? What are you guys complaining for? And plus, too, after finding out how they really were on the inside, they're really douchebags. Nah, I ain't feel bad for them at all.
Hey, listen, Bushido, they should have sent Greg Miller to go talk to those PC guys on that BlizzCon, right? Am I right?
Yeah,
boys?
exactly. Yeah.
My man went for their next sweet dude.
So,
dang.
Complete and total crossplay. You'll be able to, because you're using Battle Pass IDs to find people to play with. So no matter what platform you're playing on, you can play together and hop in a Discord party. And Discord does not discriminate about what platform you're on. You can join a Discord, no problem.
Where the games matter and
that's right. Not the platforms you play them on. Platforms, not consoles. Because platforms. Because
I did hear if you're on PlayStation and you link up with somebody on Xbox, your banner automatically turns to Xbox.no games. That's only what I've heard. But I can't confirm or deny that.
No way. No, I know you're just joking.
Doesn't it cost an extra $10 more on PlayStation?
Yeah, it's an extra subscription. Matter of fact, Sony's charging you, not Diablo.
That's horrible. I should have known. You said on Twitter you're going to be toxic. There you go. Running off with it.
I'm a man of my word.
Man
of my word.
All right. So, Ubisoft Plus apparently coming to Game Pass sooner than later. We've heard the rumors for months, and now we're actually getting publications picking this up and saying that they even know the 63 games that are going to hit Game Pass through Ubisoft Plus on day one. And that is included in that all the Far Cry's, all of the Assassin's Creeds. Wow. And all of the Watch Dogs. So, yeah.
Day one and still haven't played it yet. And to me, what you're giving me right now, that doesn't make me want to have Ubisoft Plus. Like, no, it's not give me a real reason to say I want that.
But they're going to get, it's going to be included. So whether you ever find a use for it or not.
Or because I can't see Ubisoft. I can't see Ubisoft giving games out for not for free because they would get paid from Xbox. But what I'm saying is making it cheap enough for Xbox to want to add that to Game Pass at no extra cost to us.
Well, didn't you hear the Game Pass actually went down in cost? The Friends and Family plan coming soon to the United States That's 5 people on your account for $20-something. That's cheap.
40.
I thought it was $40, bro.
It's 40.
Yeah, it's 8 times 5, right?
Yeah.
So $8 a person. So that's cheaper than you pay for it now by yourself.
Yeah, if you could find that many people, I don't. I'm a person that when it comes to bills, I'm not one to trust other people to pay their bills like I pay my bills.
Yeah, like imagine you trying to run around and chase down 5 people to Venmo you
Yeah.
$5.
Exactly.
So, hey, guys, Game Pass subscription's up, but don't believe me out here to dry. Okay,
Yeah.
it's $40. Like,
That's so weird. Like coming from my country where you can just transfer money directly into anyone's account, and hear how you guys have to try and figure out ways to pay each other that way. It's so odd.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, I don't really
It's
dig it.
because we're all
It shouldn't.
crooked over here, Panda. We're all
Yeah.
hooligans. We're hooligans
come
and
out of-
ruffians.
I don't really trust people to have any access to my shit at all. I mean, you can by all means send me something in the mail, but no, we ain't passing out account numbers and stuff. I think that's just more of Americans, general lack of trusting anybody.
And also to the lack of responsibility. A lot of American guys, in a heartbeat, they're like, well, it's gonna get taken care of. I'll get back to them later. And I hate that attitude when it comes to paying bills. Like I pay my bills first before I spend any money. Once the bills have been paid, then I go ahead and I go do this and I go do that. But I'm not buying nothing until my bills are paid.
Yeah, you got to make sure that the rent's paid and everything else before you make any big moves.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know.
started.
40 just seems steep for me because, especially me, is I got 3 kids, so like, essentially I'd be paying $30 or $40 for just them to access Game Pass. I'm like, like they don't play enough.
Are we sure I want to do that? Like,
They just play. They're the kind of kids. They play Fortnite. They play Roblox. They play the occasional game that they buy on their birthday or something like that. But maybe if you have a big family and you have 5 Xboxes in the house, you could justify it. But I think that's going to be a hard sell. I think just the Game Pass Ultimate is going to be the best place to be.
I have an Xbox in 5 rooms.
Yeah, but like how?
None of us live in mansions like you do, Bob.
What percentage of the world is you, though? You know what I mean?
I got 3
would say a
kids.
vast-
They've all got an Xbox, and me and the wife have an Xbox.
And you live in a mansion, Bobby. You got 2 boats.
I have 2 yachts, not boats. Get it right.
Yachts. I'm sorry. Yachts. You're right. I keep forgetting.
Jets.
Yes.
Think of it like this though, like you've got the 5 accounts, right? But the person who owns the account can still game share to one other person, right? So technically, 6 people could take advantage of it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole deal screams like share it. You know what I mean? Like that's maybe if you've got 5 of your buddies, and this goes back to Bushido's thing. Like if you're in college and like you're like, all right, dudes, let's round up our friends and we'll all go in. But then like he said, the lack of responsibility, like somebody's gonna forget or somebody's not even gonna have $5 to give you, and then that's gonna get really convoluted really fast. So I think maybe in like Bob's situation, it makes the most sense, right? If you actually have 5 Xboxes and you have 5 people taking advantage of Game Pass on a regular basis, but for me, like for instance, Game Pass is great, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like everything that comes out on Game Pass is something I'm interested in. I don't care about MLB The Show. I know I didn't care about Wo Long. I loved High on Life. But it's like every other drop that they have, I'm interested in. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to keep Game Pass for a couple of the other things they have access to, but my kids may not care about Wo Long or MLB The Show. You know what I mean? So and then it gets down to a point like how many months is it justifiable to pay 40? Because what is that? That's is that $480 a month, right? Or a year? Sorry, $480 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're looking at almost $500 a year. Now, I'm not saying that Game Pass Ultimate isn't a good deal. It is, but I don't know about $40 a month.
You could get it to work, then that's great. But Man, that was a stiff one right there.
Yeah. I was genuinely hoping for 25. I thought 24.99 would have been a really
30.
good. Yeah, 24.99 would have been an awesome, I think that would have been a really good stick to anybody, especially with all the. I understand the values coming, and with this ABK, we could be looking in a world where stuff like Diablo 4 and the latest and greatest Call of Duty hit Game Pass, and that's where I say the standard Game Pass Ultimate subscription is going to be your best bet.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't it 25 in the States per month? Because it's like $40
No.
in New Zealand with the price difference.
Nope.
Oh,
Yeah.
We get Game
It's
Pass
like,
Ultimate for $14.99.
yeah.
$14.99.
But I mean,
yeah.
for the family pass.
Well, do we? I don't think we
$25?
have one yet, do we?
We
Do
don't.
have
When
We're
it
getting
comes,
it.
I'm
over here?
pretty sure it's
It's
probably going to
coming
be about
soon.
25.
I
Yeah.
think it's going to be
Live
25.
today was what I was hearing. I was hearing that it went live today.
Because in New Zealand, Game Pass Ultimate is like $20 a month. And I share that with my sister. So we just go halvesies on it.
Yeah.
Halvesies.
Well, I'm surprised if it did go live today. That's yet another issue I have with Xbox marketing. Why doesn't everybody know about it? It should be plastered all over your Xbox home screen. And I definitely was on my Xbox today and I didn't see anything about it. So, yeah,
It's
it
not
is
live
weird.
yet.
I think it's going to be 25. I really do.
I think it's.
And listen, I will redact my statement. If it's $25, that's a great deal. If it's $25, that's a great deal, especially with all the stuff that we know about what's coming up with ABK, and potential, especially if Ubisoft Plus, because people really underestimate how much content Ubisoft has and how much that can
You're talking about the family pass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the family thing.
$39.95.
Up there.
Or in
now
the States.
does
It's
it have,
US.
So that's $39.99 US dollars.
US dollars, yes.
It doesn't make sense that New Zealand price would be the exact same amount.
Allows five people on the account. I think it is five. I think it's 5 accounts.
Okay.
I mean, that's a good deal for that, for having 5 people on it. But
I saw it
get 'em
shared
to-
somewhere earlier. I'll see if I can find it again here. I was just looking at it not too long ago here.
Yeah, Game Pass Family and Friends is now officially live. So yeah, it's launched.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so has anybody had a chance to I don't know, is there some, I mean, how would you, if you're a current Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, how do you navigate to an upgrade path? Has anybody seen a tab on the home
So
screen?
it should be. I mean, this sort of thing should be really easy because your cloud saves. I mean, you don't pay for your cloud saves. Everybody's entitled to cloud saves on Xbox. Your achievements, they stay the same. You're just changing your plan would just be changing. You'd be added to a family account, and I mean, if whatever you've already got downloaded through Game Pass, if you leave Game Pass, it's not going to uninstall the games. You just won't be able to play them until you're back on an account with Game Pass. So it would be a quick switch from adding you to a family plan, and then it would just automatically drop, or you could drop, if it doesn't automatically do it, drop what you're paying, and then you'll still pick up the benefits, because when you go to play a game that's on Game Pass, it'll look at it and say, yeah, he's on the friends and family plan. Sure, launch the game. That's the way I see it. I think it's going to be a really, really easy switch.
But I don't think Ubisoft Plus is coming into that. At the moment, it's not coming into Game Pass.
Well,
Still separate.
Yeah,
it's launching on
I
Xbox.
heard about it was coming to Xbox. Just
Yeah,
in
it's
general.
launching on Xbox because it's
yeah.
only on PC.
I heard it was just
on
Xbox,
Stadia.
yeah.
With the way things have been going for Ubisoft, yeah, it's definitely coming sooner than later.
Yeah.
And I think it'll eventually get put into Game Pass, kind of like how EA is. But at the moment, I think they're going to try and see if they can get people subscribing to
They're
it.
going to charge you something for that, though. I'm telling you, because EA is one thing, but I think Ubisoft, on the other hand, is they're so strapped for cash. They would ask for more than
They're
Xbox
hurting right now.
paid
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't had a solid launch, I think, since Valhalla.
That's
right?
why Xbox is going to buy them as soon as this ABK stuff's over. That's right.
You heard here first, folks.
I would be
Telling
surprised.
It's confirmed.
Yeah, it's
I'd
'cause
rather them buy
Elon
WB,
said
but that's
so.
just me. You know.
Me too. You know, I'm on board with that.
Go ahead and put
WB
Batman
would
under
be
the
my
Xbox
next
umbrella,
target.
bro. And let's get one.
I mean, I was down for that when that rumor was flying around, and then it took some. It actually got some solid opinions from industry analysts saying yes, this is possible, and then it didn't happen. So
It's just, well, you got to look at it this way. When I'm gonna just put some hope into your heart. Hopefully, with this one, the thing that's got me is, remember they pulled the deal off the table for selling. They said they weren't going to sell at all. They're still down. Like, they really owe some money, but the deal is, they decided to not sell, and that was around about 6 months or so before the ABK deal was announced, if you noticed. And then I was thinking to myself, I wonder if they were talking to Xbox, because it was funny how it went off the table all of a sudden. Like, it's not like this debt you owe was going to disappear. And so I know they were thinking about licensing their IPs out, and I can understand that too. But what got me was that they just decided to stop, and now there's no news at all, no conversation, no nothing. And Gotham Knights didn't do as well. It didn't do horrible either, but do as well as they wanted it to. I'm thinking they might have.
neither is Suicide Squad, man. Suicide
Yeah,
Squad
oh
was not well received at all.
Massive
Yeah.
Not a
Yes.
good
console.
look.
So I'm thinking
Yeah.
they did go to Microsoft. I don't know why.
I was real hyped
maybe
for
it's
that
just
game,
hope.
dude, and I lost all of it. Like, as soon as I saw King Shark jumping around the screen with a gun in his hand, like, what in the world is going on?
right.
You know, it's
I'm
funny,
good on
that
that.
didn't do it for me. It was Captain Boomerang and everything else, and the
He ain't even
speed of
using the
game.
boomerang, man. Like, why is everybody
Yeah.
hopping around? Like, you know, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I'm mad at Rocksteady for that.
Everyone
Yeah.
was disappointed with that soulless game, so it really doesn't matter. It's on hold. It might be canceled. Who knows? So you know what?
I
Let's
hope
just
so.
forget about it.
I don't think it's going to be canceled. Oh, no. That's another. See, listen, when you are cash strapped, you are not canceling nothing. You're going to release it, but you're just going to have to hope the best of it. Like I said, in this instance, maybe it might be in our benefit, you know?
I think Suicide
this
Squad
happens.
would have done a lot better if it followed the same formula as Guardians of the Galaxy, and they
I
picked the
agree.
main character, like, so maybe say Deadshot or Harley Quinn, right? One of those two,
Right.
and you command the rest of them in battle arenas. So you command King Shark to fucking attack. You command Captain Boomerang to throw his boomerang, just like you do with Guardians of the Galaxy and Star-Lord, right? And everybody hated on that game when it first came out. Everybody first saw it.
Sure
and
enough
like, what is
did.
this? And when people started playing it, I haven't found a person yet who played the whole game and told me that game was bad. Like, I have yet to find somebody that said that. Because that
Yeah, I'm
game was
with you
awesome,
too.
dude. You know what I'm
I
saying?
haven't found one person who didn't agree with some people. Listen, I've had about 70%, that's just a guess, but about 70% of people who did play it were saying, like, hey, man, I think that was my game of the year.
Yeah. I listen, when everybody was hating on it, I got it just because I'm a huge comic fan, so I usually buy comic book games, you know what I mean, regardless of,
Yeah.
you know, to me, I'm kind of a sucker, so like it doesn't have to be like a game of the year contender for me to enjoy it, you know, as
Right.
long as it's like a comic book story to it.
Right.
So I started playing the game, and I'm like, yo, what is everybody talking about, bro? This game is fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how
and
it
then I
was too.
started slowly seeing the narrative change, you know, as time progressed, and the word, because really, Guardians of the Galaxy, literally the whole rhetoric changed because of Twitter and the word of mouth. People started talking about it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
a
That's
couple
what
of
did it for
notable
me.
people said this game is really good, and I was wrong about it, and then it just spread like wildfire, man. You know?
Yeah, that's
and
what
it
did it for
worked.
me.
And it worked because they
That's what it-
stayed true to the characters. You know, even though they didn't
Exactly.
look
Yeah.
like the movie
The
ones, they
writing
stayed
was
true to the characters.
spectacular. You're
They
right,
had
Luke.
great writing. They had
Yeah.
fantastic graphics and animation in the game. They
Yep.
kept it like based on a story. The game wasn't about trying to keep you there for 40 hours into a level like loot crate and everything. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
It kind of followed similar paths in the way that Batman kind of did. But the other
Yeah,
games
right.
to me just feel like they're throwing superheroes into games that really aren't like, especially from the pedigree of, you take the Avengers, right, with Crystal Dynamics coming off of Tomb Raider, and they do this one, and then you get, Rocksteady. Even Rock, I've been waiting all this time for Rocksteady to make a game, and this is the best they're
Yeah.
putting out. I feel
Yeah,
cheated.
dude.
I feel like, first of all, and I said this weeks ago, I said, did anybody stop and go, my God, we want a Suicide Squad game?
That's the same thing when
I
they first
don't.
announced it.
I don't
Yeah.
think there's
When
a
they
single
first
person
announced it,
out
that's
there.
what I said.
And
No,
Rowan asked
That's
for
a
it.
Suicide Squad game.
yeah, and you know,
Okay, Bob. Bob,
and
let me
you know
ask
what
you this.
I've,
Gameplay.
heard every fan say since they've seen the trailer. How come I can't play as the Flash, Superman?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I never
I want to play
expected to
as.
play them either, but at the same time, though, yeah. But
Bob,
still,
let
I
me
still
ask you
didn't
this.
expect that though.
Would you rather
You don't
have
want to play
the
Kill Suicide
Suicide
Squad?
Squad game or
Exactly.
a new Arkham game?
Captain
Arkham.
Doucherang. Jeez
Done.
Louise.
Ooh, Arkham, of course.
But that
Everybody,
just
everybody
shows.
else answered the way you just answered, bro. Everybody wanted a new Arkham game, and whether or not anybody wants to admit it, nobody wanted this Suicide Squad game, dude.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
wasn't an asked for or a fan requested thing at
The
all.
movie
No.
industry's doing the same fucking thing now. That's why Marvel is starting to tank, and they're firing everybody because the movie industry's doing the same shit.
Yeah.
They ran out of ideas. They killed off all the major characters. Now they're trying to reboot shit. They're bringing in friggin' like leftover comic book characters that most average people don't even know who the frig they
no
are.
clue who they
Yeah.
are.
Expecting
No
everybody
clue
to
who they
care
are.
about this shit, and we're all like, "What the flip?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just too
Exactly.
much in
they
so
were
little
chasing. They were
time.
Disney started chasing the money, man, and that's what
Yep,
happens.
exactly.
You stretch
too
your
much.
content way too thin, and
I
it
don't know.
becomes
I have to defend
lifeless.
those movies. I thought they were pretty good though for what I grew up with. The trash we grew up with,
Yes,
Newt
Oh
and
yeah.
yes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Shield,
Bobby.
for
You knew
sure.
the stuff we grew up with. They were actually these movies are pretty good. My problem
Yes.
is the fact that going forward, I don't see a real vision on what you want to do going forward. I mean,
Yeah.
I know they probably do, of course, because you can't plan out this whole 20-year scape with them without having a plan. But it just doesn't seem like a good idea or cohesive. And then you're trying to stretch out too many things. Like I do want to see Secret Invasion. That's a great comic book. If anybody has never read one, Secret Invasion is one of their best stories. But the problem is that they're trying to stretch things that should be in movies out to TV series too.
Well, that
Yeah, and I
shows the
also don't like
Endgame.
how far
Yeah.
they deviate from the comics. I mean, like look at even like I liked the MCU movie Civil War, but let's face it, guys, that's way off from the
Yeah.
actual comic books, bro. That wasn't even close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but as long as you can't go for panel with cartoons and
Yeah.
movies. I understand that now. I
I'll
didn't
be the
either,
Yeah.
but
first.
I do get it.
Wait,
I'm
but that's just
I'm
right.
still mad at them because of how they did my Hulk dirty. That's my favorite character. Thanos whooped his butt in ways he shouldn't have been whooped, and I'm sorry. Hulk should have had a
Well,
Hulk should have had a
Well, Hulk
revenge
should have had
a
his fire
revenge
back. Yeah.
ass whooping. He needed a revenge ass
I
whooping
agree.
on Thanos,
I
bro,
agree.
and he never got it, and
no.
I had to watch him
And
be in.
Then you had to watch him be a bitch in the She-Hulk show.
Yeah,
yeah, you
Like,
know
what the
what?
fuck is
he was
that?
walking around in a freaking in a
Yep.
sweater, eating
Yeah,
tofu
he might have.
and
Disrespect.
shit.
I didn't think that
Oh,
either.
No
Jesus.
disrespect, but that show was horrible. I'm sorry. That show was horrible.
Oh,
It is
my
fucking
God.
horrible. It's all horrible.
Alright.
Fucking garbage
know-
shows.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
You know, the best shows they had were on friggin' Netflix until they got canceled by Disney, like Luke Cage
Yes,
and
bro.
Daredevil,
Daredevil.
and
Well,
and
Daredevil
Nice.
was
Yeah,
fucking-
they had a
Disney
shit.
Plus effect.
They had a
Even
shit ton of good
even
shows, and
Jessica
then all of a
Jones.
sudden, yeah, and then they fucking shit canned them.
Yes.
And
Well, I thought that
and
that
Bobby,
Gotham
you know
Knights was
what
going
game
to
that
do
could
that.
have been? You know what game that could have been instead? The same fighting aesthetics, Batman Beyond. Where's Terry McGinnis at? Why didn't Rocksteady go
Yeah,
Terry McGinnis
that's a good one
and say,
too.
I want a Batman Beyond with the Batman, right? As a
Mhm.
mentor, whoever you got to do, right? And you could do Terry McGinnis, a whole new generation, a complete reboot, with a very popular cartoon that I grew up with a lot of people that my age or around my age grew up with. It would hit the nostalgia effect. It would hit the combat. It would hit the future tech.
Yep.
To me, it'd be a slam dunk and with
Yeah,
Rocksteady pedigree
it
all
could
over
have
it.
it
You
could have
know?
continued the story perfectly from that, and I
Yes.
think that was what made Batman Beyond so great was that you go from the original show over to this, and at first people didn't like it, but as you get
I
it, you
didn't either.
actually really like the aesthetic. You
I
really like
Yep.
it, or
love
not just
Batman
like the
Beyond, bro.
relationship and all that. Like him and Terry is just it's just perfect, and they've
Yes.
actually proposed to do that. I don't know why Warner Brothers won't approve it. I don't understand what's
You know
going
who was
through these
supposed to
guys'
play
mind.
Batman? Who was supposed to play McGinnis? Was Timothy Chalfant, the guy from Doom, the
Oh
the
my
young kid
God, he
from
would have been
Doom.
perfect.
Yeah,
He would
that's
have been
what I said
perfect,
too.
dude.
See,
He's a
but
really
Oh,
good actor.
Warner Brothers just
this
can't
is just
figure it
making me
out.
mad. This is just making me
But
mad. We
that's
gotta go
why
to
they
another
put what's
topic
his name
here.
in
Yeah.
charge, James Gunn, because
I
they didn't have a direction, and so
Please.
without having
They
any type of
did under
direction,
Snyder. They did, but
yeah,
then they
but
Exactly.
the
screwed it up.
Snyderverse, the
You
problem with
know,
them
Yeah.
is they got scared
Snyderverse
because
got a
the
bad taste in their
Snyderverse
mouth.
failed.
Everybody did.
But I thought the
It,
Snyderverse was actually once you saw the full movie, then
I
I was
liked
like,
it.
yeah, that's actually pretty good.
it was
Yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it.
it was done right, but all the sorry, go ahead.
So I thought he was actually botting for a second.
Me too. That was funny. Well, I lost my train of thought on that.
Hmm.
No, I didn't see that one.
No.
I thought it was Minecraft Legends you were showed before.
Is this
Oh,
to line
okay.
up with D&D coming out, the movie?
it's gonna have 10 hours of gameplay in Minecraft. God damn it.
Yeah.
I couldn't
You can
pass
suck
any
my
harder.
block.
I couldn't pass any harder.
Yeah, no
For,
doubt.
Wow.
I mean, I think I'd play it, to be honest. Looking at some of this gameplay here, it looks cool. Reminds me a lot of some of the mods we always had with stuff like this, but it looks fun.
Yes. 12 million adolescents with one pubic hair just screamed in joy.
You know,
You know how many adults I know love Minecraft? I can't. I'm just not into it.
Yeah, no. Minecraft feels too much like work. You know, I'm like, I do enough of that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
No, like
Yeah, but doesn't that just involve like slapping a spider with a stick or something? Like that's like what you're doing, right? Like
It's just
I wasn't
slapping us. What he picks the sweater specifically.
Build
And
shit,
then
I
you
just watched my
not a
kids
sword.
pick
He
up like
just
a
picked a
cow
stick.
steak and punch it with a stick. I don't know. You know.
Bob, they're saying that they can't hear you on the stream.
All that for nothing.
Yeah,
That's what they're saying.
What about now?
Not missing anything, chat.
But
I mean, I think they can hear you. I think they just ignore you.
We're talking Minecraft.
I mean,
They should be able to hear me now.
like
Okay.
So what's on screen
Yeah,
right now, everybody, is the Minecraft Dungeons and Dragons DLC trailer, and
Nice.
I'm actually a little excited for it. Yes, the panel. Everybody can hear me now. I had a problem with OBS. That problem was it was host induced. I basically had to cough and forgot to unmute myself several minutes ago. So it has sounded to.
When we went on this whole tangent, you was probably trying to wrangle us, and you was like, "Why are you just ignoring me?"
Exactly. Oh my god. There you go.
I don't feel as good as Bob's not trying to get a leg in there, you know?
It looks cool.
Right.
It's got this dark aesthetic to it, and it, I don't know, it kind of gives me like Die by the Sword sort of vibes as well. When you only played that on PC.
I never played that. How is that one?
I mean, just kind of like aesthetically and like the dark vibes of that game. I would play this. Yeah. I'm not a big
Oh my god! If there's a beholder, I'm sold. That's it.
Right?
You never ask directions in Minecraft because they'll tell you it's just 2 blocks down.
Oh my gosh. It's hilarious.
I like that. I'm not gonna lie, I like that one.
Can someone just
Absolutely
block
hilarious.
the looking right now? God damn it.
Anyway, this DLC is coming very soon, spring 2023. So they've kept this Dungeons and Dragons DLC under wraps pretty well.
Yeah.
Just in time for the movie.
When's
When's the ray tracing, guys?
Yeah,
Right?
right.
Coming.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
There
We
is a
saw that
Dungeons and
trailer.
Dragons
We
movie
saw
that
that
came out tonight.
We saw that
Honor
that
Among Thieves.
was it again? Thieves?
Yeah, it came
Honor
out
Among
today.
Thieves.
Yeah, really.
It's
Yeah.
got Michelle Rodriguez, Chris Pine, and a whole heap of other people in it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so pretty well known. What's that kid? What's the kid? He's the sorcerer. Man, he's been in a bunch of stuff. I can't remember his name.
Something Smith.
But it actually rated really well on Rotten Tomatoes and the audience score, which I was
Really?
surprised. Like,
Wow.
I saw the trailer and I was like, I would like this, but I'm a nerd. But I don't know
Right.
how the rest
That's
of the
the same
world would
thing.
like this. But
Yeah.
it looks like they did a really good job of like kind of inserting what would be like not what you would think the person would be as the person. You get what I'm saying? Like
Right.
the person playing the mage, you can tell it's just like feels like just a regular dude that's trying to be a mage in a game. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
like that's the whole vibe of the whole of the movie. Even with
Yeah.
Chris Pine as like the main character, he's just like a goofball the whole time. It seems like.
Right. Right.
So,
I did like that aspect of the that they showed of the movie, that it was comedic, because
Yeah.
it's hard to pull off there's certain IPs that it's just hard to pull off a serious movie with it because of the tone the game or the IP is. So to
Yeah.
be able to do it, sometimes that is the better route. And from what I've seen, it looked pretty good to me.
yeah,
does
you kind of
look good.
embrace the cheesiness aspect of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, rather than trying to pretend it's something that it's not. Although,
Right.
like as a D&D fan myself, I would love to see a Dungeons and Dragons game taken seriously and in a AAA aspect. You know what I mean? Like with a
Right.
with a full blown. Like I know we had that. It came to Game Pass. I can't remember the name of it. It was Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, the
Something.
not
It was
Dark
like a 4-player.
Dark Tide, something
Dark
like that.
Tide. Dark Tide. Yeah, that's it.
Was it Dark Tide?
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons Dark Tide. Yeah. So that came into Game Pass.
It was
And it
fun, but
It was
too
okay.
buggy.
It was okay. Yeah, it was
Too
just okay.
buggy.
But I would like to see an actual, like, real, like kind of like I don't know if you guys saw, but I'm really excited about this, and I don't know if Bob's going to talk about it, but I feel like this is a good time to bring it up. Have you guys seen the rumor about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game?
Yes.
Ronan?
Yes.
So the last Ronin that's going to be given the AAA, and they said they're going to be comparing it to God of War Ragnarok.
Wow.
Now,
have you
My
read?
ears,
Have you read those?
Gameplay.
the last Ronin comics.
Yes.
Yes.
Well.
Yes.
Yes. I mean that can go toe to toe with God of War.
absolutely. And a lot of people don't realize this, but the Ninja Turtles comics were actually a lot darker than the cartoon.
Yes.
Yes.
The lighter side of the Ninja Turtles happened later, much later.
You know what's funny? I saw for the new Ninja Turtles movie, people were complaining that April O'Neil was black, and I laughed to myself. I had to post it though because I was like, "Did you know that the original April O'Neil was black?" And
Yeah, well, yeah, she was.
funny.
I think she
I
was.
bet
She
people
was
didn't
mixed.
know that.
Like she was
I
like
mean, do
Yeah, I
they
think she was
know
Latino
that?
and black. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like, do they know that Ninja Turtles before was a violent cartoon?
Oh, it was
Comic
real
book?
violence.
Yeah. There's a lot of.
They
It was. It
know
was a
that?
dark. It was a dark comic
Oh,
book.
it
for
was
sure.
really dark.
I, I don't know, like, are people really like, I want Megan Fox to play April O'Neil once again? Like, what the?
Oh man.
I don't know if I'd complain about that, but
Yeah, hear me out, man.
yeah, here we go.
Whoa, whoa! I have a, I have an idea. I got a plan.
Oh my goodness. Where's this
I
going?
get 'em.
But I think, anyways, I'm excited about that game because it's a AAA foray into a series that we're not used to seeing. Like, man, they've had so many generic Ninja Turtles games, other than the
And
recent one they
movies.
put in the Game Pass, and movies. So the idea
Yeah.
of this one turtle, who all his brothers have died, and he's carrying around. So you've got different combat styles. You can add on different ways for him to interact with different things. Compared to how the last Ronin interacted with characters in combat and stuff. Man, I don't know. I was really excited about that just because it sounds like something different than what we've been getting from Ninja Turtles, man.
So a dev that actually respects the source material and makes a good game, could someone please go talk to the people about Suicide Squad then?
Yes, yes, man. And here's the thing: I wouldn't be against the Suicide Squad game. I don't have anything. I was one of the few people that actually kind of enjoyed that original Suicide Squad that had Enchantress in it. I didn't mind that movie. I'm not saying it's great, but I didn't mind it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So
Trash.
you're right, but you're right.
Sorry, I
It
didn't
was
say that out loud.
my trash. It was my trash, Bushido, okay? And I like that trash, okay? So like, I love the idea. It's just they were
Right.
chasing this live service monetization, and it's really weird because did they not just watch Avengers die? I mean, we just buried Avengers not even a month ago, letting everybody know that it's going to be the end. That's a wrap on this game, and they're going to come out with basically the same exact thing, worse, because now they're just adding generic guns to everybody. It just blows my mind, man.
I think what
You'd
happens
have
is
a-
thinks that their idea is better than the last one.
Maybe.
I think that's
Yeah.
what happens. I think somebody says that. No, I think we know how to do it. I think, or I don't think it's gaming. I don't think it's the studio that thinks that. I think it's mostly corporate heads or whatever, and they just want to take a shot
Yeah.
at that money.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't mind an Arkham Knight style Ninja Turtles game. Honestly,
so
and
listen.
if you think about it, they kind of have it already there.
Yeah, I would love
Well,
that.
I'm going to warn those studios. Like I said, man, you can make 10 great games in a row and everybody loves you, but the moment you drop the ball on one, it's fucking
Yep.
game over. I'm telling
Oh
you.
yeah. People are
Don't
gonna-
believe me? Look at BioWare. Look how quickly Mass
You
Effect
probably
1 through
read it.
3, right? And then all of a sudden BioWare made Mass Effect Andromeda, and all of a sudden they were the B fucking team, and they couldn't
Yeah.
make a game to save their soul. It was that fucking quick, right?
Yeah, and
Yep.
and Dragon
And
Age,
Project
Dragon
Red.
Age kind of hurt them too. Like the latest.
Inquisition.
Yeah. Who was it? Who was it?
Yeah.
Did Anthem? Was that
Yeah,
BioWare as well? Yeah,
Yep.
that was BioWare too, right?
Yeah.
Is Dreadwolf meant to be coming out this year?
I'm not
I don't think
sure.
so.
I know they're meant to be
think
doing
that's
a show on it,
2024.
but
I guarantee
Maybe
you,
they better
I
fix
almost
it.
know for a fact we'll see something at not E3, I guess, or RIP E3, rest in peace, but Summer Games
Yeah.
thing, I guess, whatever they call it now.
Summer Game
Um,
Fest.
Yeah.
Summer's Game Fest.
Yeah, you can be the most talented studio in the world, but if you don't make the games that people really want, and to some degree, though, the downside with being in the video game industry, it takes so long to make a game from conception to
Yeah.
the time it comes out. it's really hard to follow like an industry trend because everything these days goes on trends and it goes what's popular. So what you might have been thinking was great 5 years ago, and everybody's like, yeah, it's amazing, and then all of a sudden, like you see the movie industry, like the Marvel movie industry now is starting to dive. It's starting to go. We kind of saw the writing on the wall because, like you said, if you make like 20 or 30 movies and God knows how long, people are going to start kind of getting burned out. They're going to get fatigued, and the ideas start to just becoming stale. And the same can happen with games, but it's worse with game because, like I said, a lot of shit can change in the run of 3 to 5 years by the time to make a game.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sly Gamer in the chat, having a good time with RE4 Remake. Yes, it is great. I just wish they would fix the aiming. Please fix the aim. And they said it's not a them problem, or it's not an Xbox problem. It's a them problem. Well, then fix your shit. Damn.
That's why I don't play games at launch anymore.
Because they're buggy as hell.
That's why I never pre-order games.
Hey, shout out to everybody who bought The Last of Us Part 1 on PC, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, may
That
you
brings
rest
us-
in peace, bro.
That brings us
Wow.
into our next topic. Yeah.
I think they based all the character models on Eugene Levy.
Yes, it's horrible. I mean, it is just pitiful. I felt like I was playing something on the PlayStation 2. It was horrible.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
What the
man.
fuck happened?
Maybe
Everybody had gigantic eyebrows.
maybe Sony put the wrong generation team onto that PC port. You think that happened? Because it did not
Well, it
look
wasn't
2023.
Or-
I don't think it was next
wasn't
to.
it Iron Galaxy?
No, it was some other company.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Iron
Yeah.
They hired all the former employees from Platinum
guys-
Games after Scalebound crashed.
They did. That's what they did.
Do you guys know? Do you guys know who Iron Galaxy? You know what other game, PC game, Iron Galaxy ported?
No.
Killer Instinct. Well, no, they
Oh,
were
I
part
knew
of Killer
this.
Instinct.
Or Arkham Knight?
Mm. Nice.
And if anybody knows how terribly that went,
That one
it's
thing, yeah, I
kind of
remember.
revered as one of the worst PC ports ever.
Yeah.
Whenever it launched, and Sony and all of
said,
its
let's hire these
vast
guys.
intelligence, let's. Yeah. Even though we've purchased and acquired Nix's studio, that's great at porting PC games or porting PlayStation games to PC. That people were talking about 40 minutes waiting to compile shaders just to
Wasn't
allow
Nix
the
was
game to
working
play.
on something else though? Weren't they working on another PC port at the time?
Maybe that was the case, and maybe they
Sure.
are working because I don't know why, but all of a sudden a rumor jumped up recently about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart being the next PC port.
But how did it pass quality control looking that bad? I mean, those are some pretty embarrassing looking Photoshop.
Yeah,
That's what I
and
thought.
Bad.
I feel that way about a lot of games, man. Like it genuinely makes me wonder. Like, you mean to tell me that nobody sat down and just said, "Hey, listen, before we press the button here, guys, let's just go in and play the game and see what happens."
I mean, it's a
That's
beloved
massive
IP
internal
and
failure.
it's known for all the quality
Someone-
there, and to
someone-
get released in that state is awful. Disrespectful to the IP itself.
Yeah,
And-
that lack of
and they
quality
said-
control.
And they said that Naughty Dog had a pretty big hand in the development of the PC port. Like, it wasn't just sent off to somewhere, so they can't just hold their hands up and say it wasn't me.
Character models are so ugly they made Bella Ramsey look like fucking Jennifer Lawrence. Like, Jesus.
Oh man,
It's just a new art style they're going with.
Yeah, maybe it's an old 800 by 600 resolution. But man, have you guys seen the Steam Deck screenshots that people have been taking? Oh my gosh, man, that is the most hilarious thing that I've ever seen. The Steam Deck version of that game looks like absolute garbage. It is so bad.
The one that they're going around using the crudes. At least that's what Rocket posted. Yeah.
Crudes.
But the people running around going gotcha moment for PC gamers, like you should have got it on a PlayStation. Like, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
cracks me up.
stupid.
But like,
Complain to the
No,
devs
that's-
about the quality of the game that was launched on PC, because you played it on PlayStation, you love the IP there. You should be absolutely horrified at the state that launched
Yeah.
for PC
Yeah.
gamers to
yeah, you
experience.
should be upset. You should
And
be
to
I'm
turn
even-
upset.
around and like
It is
deflect
60
it and
frames
blame
on
the
PlayStation.
PC gamers.
Well, you know some of these
Seriously.
fanboys mentalities. You know, it can only be on PlayStation. If it's not
Yeah.
on,
Yep.
it can't be anywhere else. If it's anywhere else, then I don't want it to be good. I want people to buy a
Yeah.
PlayStation.
What do they
There
say?
are
It's
there
the
are
you
people
play
out
the
there with
better
that
version.
mentality.
Yeah, they'll say
Pretty
you're
sure.
playing a better version on PlayStation because it's on PlayStation. No,
Hmm.
that's just a port.
Aren't there
They've had
Nah.
PlayStation
feedback ports
emulators? They
too.
should just put it through a PlayStation emulator.
Now
It'd probably
There
work
I
you
will
better.
go.
say this. I will say
Those
this.
always work out
And
well.
there actually is a YouTube video that came out recently. I think it was by Force Gaming, and he was talking about PC ports being bad recently, and it was kind of talking about the up and down struggle because PC ports for a long time had a really bad reputation for being bad, right? And they got a little better, and in the early 2010s up to 2015, they kind of fell back downhill. I will say this: I own both. I have a PC and a console, and a lot of the times I am hesitant to purchase until I find out like which side of the fence the game runs the best on. I'll give you an example. I bought when Hogwarts Legacy came out. The embargo lifted, and I think it was a day before, 24 hours before, all the embargoes lifted, and I heard about all of the issues and problems and all that stuff that were going on with PC. So I purchased it on Xbox because I didn't want to deal with that, and the game ran fine for me, but everybody was having a bunch of problems on PC. So there are moments where like console optimization wins because a lot of games sometimes just seem to be optimized better on a console. Borderlands 3 was another great example. That game runs great on my Series X, and I still to this day have issues with it, even with a nice, like, well-built PC. Fortnite always has like with Unreal Engine shader compilation stutter issues on PC that I'd never have to deal with on Xbox. So I can see the issues with it, but then again, there's like 1,000 games that run better on PC. So it's a give and take. So at the end of the day, I think it's just like listen to where the game is, and that's the thing where you can like look past this whole like being concealed to a specific ecosystem because a lot of the times the consumer ends up losing for that, right? Like imagine if you were so stuck on one ecosystem and that ecosystem got a shitty port of a game and you're stuck playing it just because you were stubborn, even though you could have had access to play it in a smooth state, And I agree with Ultimus Gaming that nowadays, man, I'm much more hesitant on day one purchases because let's just face it, guys, those games are going to be way better in a year than they are right now. After a whole bunch of patches and fixes, it's going to be a much better experience and it's going to be cheaper,
Great example on that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but technically, shouldn't it be kind of harder to port games that were initially built from the ground up on PlayStation 5 hardware, despite the fact that, like, again, developer PC hardware is usually more powerful than any console-wise. But the fact that they have to make these games and they have to make them run on, again, so many variations of PC hardware, like you did, they're not all the same.
Yeah.
It is hard, but like they're all on x86 architecture, so they should be fine. It also depends on the engine itself and how good that is at scaling to take advantage of the different specs of the rigs that people are accessing the game via.
Have it noted that every game nowadays, and I've heard it from much developers, I can contact them if I need to, every game is built today on a PC before it even goes to a console. Every big game is built on a PC. So how for some reason that we're having this many problems when the games are built on PCs in the beginning is just ridiculous. And I think it's a problem that we as gamers are taking, and we need to stop.
It's two different things though when it comes to that because the game is built on PC, but the game is built with a dev kit also. So
it's optimized with the dev kit.
Yeah, your coding is for the console, but what happens is for you to port it for PC, that's why you get another company to do that part. That way you're not doing it. So when the game is done, you can pass off to them and you can have your teams work on whatever problems are going on with the game on console. But in this instance, you get listen, if you've got a bad reputation as a PC porting company, you really need to either get your stuff together or people need to stop using you.
I think this is a situation where we just see, this is the question I'm going to ask on this one. Everyone's like, okay, you build it for just the consoles, then you leave it off to the PC. Why are we accepting this as gamers? Why isn't it that they're making all of them the best they can be? And if they're not, then we shouldn't buy them. I mean, the last time we had, when it wasn't good on every platform, Callisto Protocol, which launched horribly, it took them forever to fix it. Like, why are we accepting this at all? Like, it's just ridiculous in this modern day that all these things are not just running very good off the bat on all the platforms.
I think that's why Steam's refund policy is like praised so much, because you essentially get a 2-hour window of gameplay to test out on your system, and like if the game, like as long as you're like under that 2-hour gameplay time, and they make exceptions by the way, then you can get a full refund. Whereas if you buy that game on PlayStation, if you buy and download that game on PlayStation, when I tell you you're going to have a hard time getting a refund, that is an understatement. You know what I mean?
Steam takes it a little further though, because Steam knows the hardware setup of all their clients that are connected.
Right.
When you install a game on Steam, yes, you can make changes, but it starts out with what it feels is the best settings for your system.
Right.
So Steam knows what you're running, and if let's say you want a refund because this game's running like shit, and then Steam looks at you and goes, "You're not even using a 1080. This game came out 2 days ago. It's not going to run well." There could be some caveats there, is all I'm saying.
Maybe, but I've used their refund policy quite a bit on games that I either didn't run the way I wanted them to over the course of like owning a PC, and I have never. Most of the time, I don't even have to explain myself. I just put in a request for it, and they give it back to me. So I feel that they've been very generous with their refund policy. I think a lot of other companies could learn a lot from them, because in my opinion, like if you're paying for a game and it doesn't work on the system day one, I don't feel you deserve my money. You know what I mean? Like, I paid for a product that was supposed to work and supposed to function, right, as was advertised to me. So if you're not advertising in the commercial the stutters and the bugs and the glitches and the unplayability of it via, Cyberpunk 2077, for instance, right? Anybody who ever purchased that game on Xbox One and PS4 should have rightfully been upset. You know what I mean? And
they didn't show
have gotten their money back. Right, exactly.
It shouldn't have been released on those platforms.
No.
Those platforms can't run anything anymore. We need to just leave them be.
Well,
but I've campaigned for that for 2 years.
Hogwarts. Hogwarts still it hasn't come out yet, and it's coming out on the Switch. Like, yes, give yourself the time, release it on the more powerful platforms, because they're just easier to optimize, right? Because you have more power to work with. And then if you do plan on dropping them on the previous generation consoles, be transparent and say, hey, it's going to come out in 6 months. We need more time to find a way to get these things to work, if you're still stuck there, So I don't know. I just think that it's, it's one of those things that a policy should be in place for everybody.
And it is kind of strange, because we've seen other PC ports from PlayStation, like Death Stranding. We've seen Horizon, we've seen Spider-Man, and these games shine. They shine on the PC. And
God of War, they made a quote saying that God of War was actually definitively better on PC because of extra, things that they were doing over there. So it's not like PlayStation games aren't shining on PC. Yeah, this is a developer. Sorry, I understand game development is hard, and I say that with love, but this was a drop of the ball. You know what I mean? And they have to own that.
So, moving into our last topic of the night, unless anybody else has anything else to say about the shitty port to PC of The Last of Us Part 1. All right.
Go ahead,
well,
is that a goat or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have delayed it a little bit longer, because they could have told you there.
There you go. There's Kirby.
So
the weird part of the show.
E3 is officially dead 2023. After the big three had all dropped out, they were still going to go ahead with E3. And then Ubisoft was flip flopping back and forth and didn't know whether or not they were going to do it. And then Sega and Tencent stepped up and said, "We're not coming." And then after that, Ubisoft made a U-turn and said, "Okay, we're not coming." And so they made the announcement earlier today that E3 2023 has been canceled. It is not going to happen. If you've got flights planned or lodging plans, cancel it. E3 is not happening in 2023. It's been canceled. So
That's a shame.
I know.
Honestly.
Really, I don't think it's a shame at all. Because E3 has been a shell of its former self for years. And also it's it's actually pretty expensive because you pay them to put your games
No,
on
but
screen. It's
The rent
pretty
fee.
expensive. So
Rent
I say
fee.
good riddance. I say it's time for it to die.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The death of E3 is equivalent, like, as if every single like movie or comic book company was not coming to Comic Con, and then Comic Con just dies. You
Yeah,
know,
but Comic
you
Con's
understand what it
better than
means?
E3.
No, but it's the same impact in theory. Like,
I don't think so.
it's
I don't think the same
it's
thing
I
at
the,
actually
all.
agree with you on that. I
it's
agree.
the,
I agree with Ivy on that. To me,
it's
it's
the end
like
of
I
an
think
era.
because it's
Like,
yeah. I'm not a big nostalgia guy, but I am nostalgic when it comes to E3. E3 used to be the holiday, the Super Bowl of gaming, and
exactly.
it's not even close to that anymore.
You know,
It's just
and again, that
entertainment.
brings up how much it costs. Again, I'm hearing a lot of complaints about how much they're doing
Oh
that,
yeah, it was
and
really expensive.
I truly think that now I think it's better, in my personal opinion, that companies are just doing their own shows. You know, because Microsoft Theater has always been across from E3, so it's not really a big change for them at all.
Right.
Xbox really has no
Well,
change there, just no E3 symbol at the bottom of the screen. That's all the change really is.
if a shopping mall pays for Santa Claus to show up to do pictures with the kids and the mofo doesn't show up, well, that's kind of what E3 is. When the big boys don't show up, what the hell do you expect is going to happen? Like those
Yeah.
guys, they're the biggest in the industry: Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. And if they're not going to be there, like in their capacity, don't talk about Microsoft doing their show next door because it's still not the same. Like
Yeah.
you got to show up, you got to be there on the show floor. You got to be all conclusive or inclusive within that thing. Otherwise, you just it's all over the board. And until those guys recommit, this thing is dead.
They
Nobody
won't.
else wants to
I
come.
guarantee you they won't recommit. I think they're better off personally. I think E3 is coming to an end. I think mismanagement,
Well,
COVID, and everything else. I think it's over.
yeah,
I think
you're
we're
right.
done.
Because what
I
happened is they figured out they can get their message across and save a shit ton of money without having to go through
Exactly.
the
It's
without having to
it's
haul
in
all their asses
orbit.
out to there, bring people across from overseas, spend millions of dollars basically getting everybody in one little place for 3 or 4 days. And at the end of the day, in some cases, it's get everybody together to show all of our stuff off, and then have the media basically just rip us a new one for the next 3 months.
I mean, one problem that I imagine is going to be is that for some companies, no one's going to show up for their online events. Like, for example, we saw how EA, Ubisoft, they they dealt with their online showcases during the pandemic. It was horrible. So like unless they really improve themselves in that department, nobody's going to watch that because everybody's going to know that like okay, there's nothing new, it's going to be a bunch of blah 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 that nobody cares. And why am I going to watch this? Why not watch something like the PlayStation or the Nintendo or the Xbox showcase, which where I gain much more. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't usually have them at the same day though,
No.
so
They
that's
have
one
their
of the
Yeah,
own
reasons we
no,
have to
no,
dedicated
worry about that.
days.
no, but
Yeah.
exactly like okay, so in the first day there's going to be I don't know, Nintendo. Okay, I'm a Nintendo fan. I'm gonna watch this. The next day is going to be Ubisoft. Fuck that. I'm not gonna watch that.
Yeah, but they're not even in the same day, like in the same week anymore. If
No.
most of them are like a few weeks ahead away from each other, so none of them when it comes to dealing with like you said, going on next and everything. They don't have to worry about that because our attention, unfortunately, is on them. Like, remember EA had one last year, and man, that thing was boring.
Yep.
I mean, it was boring, and so I'm going with you on that. I'm definitely going with you. But the thing is, they're just not on the same days. They're on the same days. I'm with you 100%. I'm like, I'm not watching EA's. I watch the highlights. I wait to see what everybody else says. That's what I did with last year's. I didn't watch it because I haven't liked one from EA in a couple of years.
But
So I
like,
was like, there's no reason for me to watch that yet.
here's the thing. Even if it is on another day, would you still watch it just
Oh no,
because
you
it's
didn't hear what I said. I don't. No, I don't watch it. I wait and see if somebody mentions something good. I look at the highlights, but for the most
yeah,
part, no.
exactly.
I
So
think
here's the
Yeah,
thing.
I'm
being
watching.
So here's the thing. Like for some of the sorry, Red Panda, just
You're
to make
right.
my point. Like for some of these companies, the fact that you don't have the physical events of E3 where you have the stands, you have a bunch of props with the theme of the new game announcements or something like that, or something for people to test it, and it's just an online event where you hear people talk and you watch video clips. For some companies, that's going to be the death of them. And
Well,
I
Yeah,
E3
truly
was already like that for the majority of people. To make one
no,
argument, like most people watch E3 online anyway. Like the
no,
majority of
no,
people, it
no,
was
no.
usually the media that got invited
Yes,
down to E3
right.
until a couple of years before all the COVID. Then they let you be able to buy tickets. It was
no,
usually a media only event, so
no, but
it was already a watch event. So I
Red
don't
Dead
know.
what?
Panda.
No, no, no,
Go
no,
ahead
no.
and
But wait a second.
what did you
But
have
wait
to
a
say,
minute. So what
Panda?
about the fans who are there? But go
I'll
on,
just let
Panda.
you
Go right ahead,
finish.
Panda,
It's
please.
good for
Go on,
I was
Panda.
just gonna add, I like the fact that it's not all on the same day or all in the same week because, like, us talking about the games, we get more chance to like spread it out over
Yes.
our podcasts and like talk
Yep.
about it and go in depth a bit more. It's still Christmas for me because I know that they're still gonna try and line their shows up around there because everyone is anticipating that and it's expected. But I do like the fact that it's a little bit more spread out because then we're not just bombarded with articles and like everything else. We have time to absorb it all as gamers and then make a clear decision as to what we're gonna put our money into.
Yeah, and
I agree.
so
I do like it that way.
according, I mean, to clarify a little bit because I know what Noof said was directed at me because I have said in the past that Microsoft, they always do the things at the theater right across the street. I understand that. So the community aspect of E3 and actually being on the floor is not going to be there. But if you're only an Xbox player, that's all you're interested in, and you don't go to E3, essentially there not being an E3 isn't going to change for you. You're still going to see Microsoft in the same theater that they do their presentation from every year. That's all I was saying. From the people that go and actually enjoy spending time with other gamers and other content creators and enjoying themselves on the floor, yeah, it's going to hurt them a whole lot. But if you're only an Xbox player, it's going to look the same. I don't know. I don't recall a whole lot of what we've seen out of Sony the last 4 years.
Not much.
Nothing, not much.
Yeah.
Most of it's been third party.
I do remember their E3 shows have been kind of, or their streams to replace their E3 shows. I remember watching them and thinking, somehow I think you would have made this better if you knew you were at E3 with it.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that makes it a reason to not put out good content. I think at that time for the last 3 years, didn't have anything that was ready to be shown. Not that they're not working on anything, because they're always working on something, but didn't have anything ready to show. And in this instance, I'm kind of surprised because Sony doesn't usually have a problem with showing games 5 years down the line or anything like that. And I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have anything unless, and this is going to be critical, Ryan. Don't tell me you don't have anything really up the barrel that's new, like Sean Layton did. Remember the last game that they had that was new and was big for everybody is Ghost of Tsushima, and that game is the last game from Sean Layton put together. So what does Jim Ryan's team have, his administration, I'll say, have going on now for PlayStation going on in the future?
He's
I
not.
want to know.
He's not concerned. He's not a gamer.
Yeah, but even him
not.
being a gamer, he still has to control the business aspect of making money for the company. They don't make money just off the hardware. They make money off the games. And you just went up there in front of the CBS and the ABC to tell them that you need Call of Duty to be able to compete. And if you don't put anything out, that's on you. You're going to be the death of
Yeah.
that console if that's the case. And I hope not, because I love Sony's games. I just hate their business practices.
Mm.
And to be fair, I think it's fair to say that, like, I understand that PlayStation's, I don't agree with their business practices either. But in the last few, they haven't been at E3 for a while, but they have dropped some games. They do have a lot of things on that console. They launched with Rift Apart, Demon's Souls remake. We've seen God of War Ragnarok. We've seen Horizon. We've seen GT7. They've had a pretty decent launch lineup, but I would argue a much better launch lineup than the PlayStation 4. And obviously now that the pandemic's over and they've kind of, I guess they've fixed their issue with being able to get PlayStation out there. I mean, they're selling like gangbusters, so. I don't think that Sony. I mean, they did a really bad job at looking weak and trying to pretend that they aren't the behemoth in the industry that they are, right? To try to make these regulators side with them, and we're already seeing that fall apart day by day, because you can't deny that they're the market leader. You know what I'm saying? They are doing the thing. I know that Nintendo is successful. But I also look at them as a very niche closed box. If you like Nintendo, you have a Nintendo. But if you play anything other than Nintendo games, you're not like Nintendo is not your third party box. It never will be. It never has been. So it's really Xbox and PlayStation. And PlayStation is doing very well, and they have a good cadence of games. And I 100% when I tell you that as soon as this deal closes up and Sony just feels like there's absolutely no more chance, I would not be surprised if they don't drop a major content drop. You know what I mean? Whether it's this summer or whenever, right? And that's why I think that in 2023, it's really time for Xbox to put the pedal to the metal, man, and just do not let up and do not stop. Whether it's with deals or value, games. I would prefer games. You know what I mean? Just keep the content rolling, and make sure that your internal studios check on them, make sure they're good, right? Make sure we're making good progress. And all these titles that you've shown off since 2018 and 2017, even further back, that we start to see a little bit more fruits of the labor. So, you know what I mean?
2024, they're going to go head to head against each other with the titles coming. You just know.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think that that's going to be the biggest battle between two companies that have access.
Well, see,
to
I don't think it's going to make it to 2024. I mean, because we got Starfield coming out in September, and you can't tell me that they didn't push Spider-Man 2 to release in the same month as Starfield if they weren't trying to make a battle out of it.
Maybe. I would argue that Spider-Man 2 appeals to a more casual audience, so I think the sales would be there.
I think they're looking at the holiday season. That's usually the
and that's Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a really good game to bundle with a PlayStation. It just makes sense. Like a kid wants Spider-Man, just like they wanted it with the PS4. So you're gonna see. I think once they start bundling Spider-Man 2, you're gonna see a lot of Spider-Man 2 bundles. It might be the only thing that you can buy for a long time.
Yeah.
So Starfield's gonna do great. I think it's gonna be really good on the PC space, and I think it will. Starfield is the game I think that has the best chance to grow Game Pass subscriptions, which I think
it's gonna have
what's really important right now, right? Because it's the only metric, and we talked about this on this podcast before, but it's the only real metric that we can determine, I guess, growth and success, right, on the Xbox platform. Because people who already have Game Pass and play the game, to me, I mean, people just might be bored
Yeah.
and might want to check out the latest and greatest. I would want to see how many more millions of people weren't in Game Pass before and then joined Game Pass because of Starfield. I think that would be the real performance metric that Xbox should start sharing. Like, hey, we put this game on Game Pass day one, and this many million people joined with us to play this game together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that just sounds like a really good metric to put on Xbox. It would be a great marketing trick and a good thing that they could say every time a game launches.
Yep.
So
I think it's a double-edged sword as far as when you show your hand at whether it's a streaming event, whether it's E3, because PlayStation goes all out. I mean, we seen, was it early last year, we saw Wolverine shown, and we know that game is right now possibly still over a year out, maybe even more. And PlayStation does that, and it's a good proponent to show you long term, because you're going to always have the third party games, but it shows you long term first party what you've got to look forward to. And I tell you, I've seen a kind of turnabout face from Xbox in the last 18 months of their strategy, and they've stopped doing that, because you notice we'll get a teaser, and then we literally get nothing else until you look at Indiana Jones. We got a
Fable, Perfect Dark.
Yep, Fable, Perfect Dark, State of Decay 3. We've gotten
Avowed.
teasers for all Avowed. We've gotten teasers for all these, but then it goes dark. You don't hear anything else. And I really think
minimal stuff about
Zero
Hellblade.
exactly.
Not enough about Hellblade.
Everwild, which is just
Everwild.
Oh my God! Here we go. One podcast without Fabio mentioning Everwild.
He likes Everwild. Do you don't remember the scene in Everwild when all the little fishies come out of the big fishy in the pond? He loves that scene.
I thought he was all about
Fabio.
those fairies.
Fabio had such faith in IP.
I'm just mentioning
Very mature
that
caveat.
Xbox has a really bad way of keeping people hyped for their future
that's
games.
true.
We've noticed now that they've made a change with only the 12-month plan. You notice now they're like, we're only going to pretty much announce anything in the next 12 months, and I think that's what they're going to keep doing. And that's something I'm personally happy about, because of this problem exactly right here. They announce it, we wait 4 years, then we get it.
No.
If it's 4 years out, we don't know about it? That's my opinion.
Exactly. And we got some games that
Nah,
are exactly in that situation.
I don't know.
4 years since it's announced.
I like to know. I like
being
what's
excited for
happening
the
in next
future.
2 years.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So my question to both of you then, with all due respect, you are my friends. So you guys say you
I don't
want
know
to hear
about
about
that,
it, and then we spend the years complaining, when are we going to hear about it? That's my point, and it's not really you guys. I know other people that do it, where like, I want to hear about these games, but then like,
Where's
when
the
is it coming? When is it
gameplay?
coming? When is it coming? So that's my point, is I don't want to hear about it, so this problem does not happen. And that's why I love the 12 months, because if it's coming in 12 months, then we know about it. If it's not, we don't. That's my personal opinion.
I'm okay. I'm okay if the game gets released like 2 to 3 years, but like 4 years and we have at least no idea of how the gameplay is going to be. That's absurd.
See, I don't even agree with the 2-year thing, because it's the same thing, that waiting part. I don't like that, and I know a ton of people that will just keep asking for that game. That's where one great example was Cyberpunk. We waited long time for that, and people were just begging, and just like, when is it coming? I'm like, don't announce it until it's a year out.
But I think that there needs to be. I think there needs to be. It needs to be like incremental, meaning that like you tease a game, and then you wait until you have a viable gameplay demo, right? And you have a viable engine trailer or whatever it is you want to do after that, and then you market it, and then you maybe drop something right before it launches, and then you launch the game. See, the crazy thing, and the thing that I don't like is the very big hype CGI trailer and then absolute radio silence for years. You know, and it's like,
Well,
give us an
that's what
update, show us something, give us some screenshots,
this
show
is.
us
But
That's my
how this
point.
is
It needs
going.
to be a year out.
that's always notoriously been one of the biggest problems with E3, and it's because one company's trying to upstage another. So they know they don't have any legitimate gameplay, so they come up with this fancy little thing that's 30 seconds long or a minute long. It's a big CGI spindle, gets everybody freaking hyped, and then you sit there fizzling for the next 3 or 4 years. Like, what the frig is going on, right?
And then
Like E3s have changed a lot. Like E3s have been going back when we were all magazine readers and we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all these influencers. And you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you can show too much and then all of a sudden people complain. You show too little, you complain. There's really no way to kind of please everybody. There's no happy medium. I mean, look, and lately, and I think part of the reason I think we did, and you can disagree with me, but I think part of the reason that Sony and Nintendo in particular started backing away is because I'm going to say it. Xbox was friggin' dominating the E3 showcases in the last couple of years. Microsoft was legitimately coming out, throwing some big bombs out there, and they had nothing to back anything up with. Like, because obviously Sony did what for how many years? They came out with these great games. They showed them over and over and over again, same shit, but they weren't even close to releasing. How many times do we see them announce the same games, right? Over and over and over again. Xbox is prepared. I mean, they've come out prepared. Whether the games launch or not, they've just sort of been. We always say who won E3 or who had the best showcase, and a lot of times, if you look at the polls, a lot of people would say Xbox had a more impressive showing, and it's just, like I said, it's all about perception. And I agree with what Ultimates is saying too. Like I said, it's if you don't want to go too far out because it just sets a lot up to go wrong, and it's just you start wondering what the hell is going on and how far they are. And I'm always asking too, like anybody else now at this point in time, you're just like, where the fuck is Fable? Why am I using shit on Fable?
Right.
I want this game so bad, But anyway,
You do and you're damned if you don't.
Like, guys, can I hear Panda?
Go ahead, Panda.
I was just gonna say you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like we're waiting. Like Compulsion Games was acquired in 2018. We've heard nothing from them. Everyone keeps asking like, what are they working on? And so even if you do have complete silence, gamers are going to be like, we've heard nothing from them for ages.
Exactly.
And then it's concerning. Going, what are they doing? Is there something wrong with development? Like we don't know what they're working on. We don't have any hype building for that studio. So no matter how you cut it, you're going to be annoying someone to some degree. Yeah.
I still think that's the better one.
To state on what
it seems like
to state on what Noof mentioned, actually what Noof and Panda mentioned, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. You remember the E3 CGI trailer that we got for Killzone, and then when the game came out, it was in no way had any comparison, and as far as quality.
That's a bad one because that was a flat out lie though.
Well, I mean, it's still it was still used to generate hype.
Yeah, that game didn't look nothing like that.
But who's to say that when they showed that trailer, that's not what they were planning on? And then it just didn't work out.
No, they knew that they couldn't. They knew they couldn't pull that off on no PS3. They knew they couldn't pull that off. The problem was that they faked that. They used it. They used even something that not even PC could even run. Was the rumor I heard was that it was using one of those forgot what they call that computer. But anyway, so if you know that this is not even on the console, why are you going to show this? That's not even what runs on the console. And then when we got it on console, it looked nothing like that. That one's not a good example, but I do get what you're saying because for people like me, I like to know what's coming out in the future. I like to see, like, oh, okay, you're working on this, even if it's a sizzle reel. I like stuff like that, but some of us don't.
I just want to put something out there to the panel, and I want to ask them a hypothetical. Let's say that we didn't get all these teasers for the games that we've been talking about, and let's erase them from existence. What would we be hyped about past Starfield, right? If we didn't get to see Avowed or Perfect Dark or Fable or State of Decay 3 or any of these games that we know they're definitely not coming out this year. They may not be coming out next year, right? So we're looking at as far out as 2025. What will we be looking forward to? You see what I'm saying? Like at least we know all right, somewhere down the line, these games are coming out, and they at least have a purpose.
Why would you invest in
Versus,
an Xbox if you didn't know about the games
right,
coming?
exactly. So
Right.
after Starfield, people could just say,
Well,
"Oh, well, for the next 2 years, we got nothing because they're not talking." You know what I mean?
Well, that's what the 12-month plan is. You every 12 months you come in and do a big show, like they're doing on June 11th with Bethesda and that, and you give everybody an update. We say, well, we're going after again, and then the cycle continues, and it sets expectations. And that's one thing I love about it. It sets expectations, so people aren't, saying what, all this is coming. No, it's saying what's actually coming, what to be hyped about, what's new, what our studios are gonna have for you. And that's why I prefer it. So you got to just be hyped for the next cycle. And I know it's always been that wait for E3, that's been iconic for years, but it's kind of just the better thing. I just think it's the better of two evils, to be honest.
I see what you're saying there, but like that in and of itself is just a bad business model, because if you're not generating hype for your product, people aren't buying your product. You see what I'm saying?
Well, but
Like,
then
if
you have
you're
people
not-
complaining when is something coming, and then they're not buying your product anyway. But Xbox One, good example there.
Maybe, but
No,
Also,
Xbox One's a different
PlayStation's
animal.
been doing that
Well,
for years.
Yeah.
Xbox One had a lot of failures, but yeah.
I don't know if it's coincidental or not, but since Xbox acquired a lot of these studios, I just find it really weird that we've kind of got radio silence on almost everything. There's next to no information. And the games we're hyped about this year were the games essentially we should have almost been playing last year. This is one of the problems I have right now is I don't want this now we're holding all the rest of the games hostage because our last year's titles haven't come out yet. This is on the studios, like people said earlier, there's only so much leeway and room you can give all these developers before it's like shit or get off the pot.
So I will so Noof, I will give you that argument. But I would say before you push that argument any further, I would wait to at least this E3, because we are talking about the largest year in gaming right now that we've seen in a long time, and things are finally getting back on track. And if there's anything that's going, well, you never know. We may see State of Decay 3, we may see Fable, we may see Avowed, we may see all kinds of games in E3.
All the secret stuff,
We might see it, but it ain't coming this year.
Well,
we saw that cool face graphics of Hellblade,
right? But it would
Hellblade's another 3 years out. Like Jesus.
But it would end the silence.
Hold on a second, guys. We're talking over each other. It's not that big a deal. Everybody can speak. I share.
Otherwise,
I know
people
nobody
will.
get mad, but we talking over each other though.
I mean, otherwise, people will now discover that we all hate each other and that this podcast.
No, we love each other, but with our fists up.
Yeah.
So,
but I do want to ask Panda. What do you think, Panda? What's your idea of? What's your mindset as to games being announced and games being ready? How do you look at it?
I think anything more than 2 years is too far to announce a game out. I think 2 years is probably the sweet spot, because you do your teaser in 2 years, then a year later you can do another show on it, and then you've got 12 months before the game releases to really hype up, show gameplay, do all of that. Like, we look at Final Fantasy 15, which was announced in 2015. Justice thing going, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, 2015. That's all they showed, was the fact that they were working on it. Then 5 years later, the game released. Part 1. We're still waiting on Part 2. I think 2 years is probably the sweet spot. 12 months, yeah, that's ideal, but 2 years, anything longer than that, no, because then you're just going to be really annoyed as gamers waiting to hear about it, especially when there's radio silence from some of the studios and some of the publishers. It's too hard. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Agreed.
You're wrong, but okay.
Yeah.
No, I just like seeing stuff ahead of time. I don't know why. I like the hype. I saw this game. The only thing I will go with you guys with that is, what is the name of that game? Phantom Dust. I remember when Phantom Dust was announced, and everybody couldn't wait for that game, and then it got canceled. And it was announced 3 years. Yeah, for 3 years we waited for that game, and then it canceled. I think in the fourth year, either the third or fourth year, it was canceled. People were pissed, and it is if you do this, you're gonna get criticism. If you do that, you get criticism. If you don't do either one of the two, you get criticized. There is no wrong or right way to do it. The only thing I can say as a corporation, as a company, just keep doing what you have to do and what you think you have to do, because none of us are going to be happy. Not as a group, like it's seven of us. It's seven of us in here, and none of us can agree with what should be done.
And I'll say too, like I just go back to it, like I think it's okay. I really genuinely think it's okay to have a game that's kind of a little ways off in the background, as long as you have like stuff in the now and the present. And I think that for a lot of Xbox gamers, or maybe gamers in general, you know, we had a rough 2022, and we had a couple of nice hits and little things in 2023, but we're still waiting on like our meat and potatoes on our preferred platforms, right? So
Right.
Starfield is going to give us that. I think Redfall might be a little bit of that. We'll see how that plays out.
Forza
But
Motorsport.
Forza, right? Which at the end of the day is one of the few that have actually been from a first-party Xbox ecosystem. And I go back to what they were talking about with Bushido. Like, there's a lot of like real first-party studios that were like, you know, around 2017, 2018 that were acquired. And Red Panda said it too. We haven't heard anything from them. So
Yeah.
the fact that these games are at least out there in the wild and we know about them, I at least have something to think about for 2024 and 2025. Imagine people, if you have no interest in Starfield, man, you know, you got to really dig deep to find something to be excited about that's not third party.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you don't like
Yeah.
simulation racing, which a lot of people don't like simulation racing, you have to dig deep to find something to be excited for Xbox. But at least you can say, hey, listen, Fable's out there in the wild, Avowed's out there in the wild, State of Decay 3 is out there in the wild, and we at least have something to reference to say, all right, this stuff's coming, give it some time. But I do think it's fair to at least update, you know, whether it's, and that's why I like these little shows like every couple of months, you know, like I like the big spectacle in the summertime. And I like the Game Awards, but I think every couple of months, a nice little update with some screenshots or developers talking about their game or saying, hey, this is where we're at. And maybe show a little bit of audio or talk a little bit about it. Just to give people, all right, okay, it sounds like it's good. Sounds like it's still in the works. You know, like when Noof said with Fable, I really want to know what's going on with Fable. Like, that's my game that I'm hyped about.
I got a legitimate question for you guys. Do you guys think that maybe even just a little bit that maybe that is part of the reason why E3 is sort of lost its luster, or companies might be reluctant to go now, is because of Jeff Keighley and the Games Fest? Because think about it, a lot of them know that overall they can spend way less money and get far more exposure by just, you know, signing on with him to dump their games there. You know, which are all going to be pre-planned trailers and demos. They don't have to worry about all the shit that can happen on a live show, and basically get just as much out of it. When you think about it, maybe that's part of the reason why, like I said, because, you know, especially pre-COVID, a lot has changed in the last couple of years. The way we consume our information and the way we're consuming our game stuff. I mean, it's no secret. Like Nintendo started going to the directs. PlayStation started doing a lot of these state of plays. Xbox has been doing their thing. So you're starting to see a trend, and I never thought about it till now, but maybe Jeff Keighley has sort of inadvertently sort of pushed the needle away from E3, and for him, he's laughing it up because he's like, yeah, more people coming over to my team, you know what I mean? And that's big for him. So maybe that's part of it.
I put a poll in the chat. Everybody get your votes in before I close it at the end of the show.
The way it's worded, I don't know how to answer the poll. I'll be honest, KY.
Do you or do you not want to see teasers of games far off into the future of our platform?
So yes, you want to see them far, or yes, you don't want to see them far?
Hey, I don't like the way this poll.
No, I don't want to see them far off into the future, or yes, I do want to see them far off into the future.
I would like to add. You should also add an asterisk to that, Bob. You should also say, and if so, erasing all of those games that we talked about, what are you excited about for Xbox past 2023? Because then there would be nothing. We wouldn't know
that there's no reason to see past that until we know it's ready.
All of a sudden, I'm hearing Grover say,
I'm with you. I'm Carmen.
That's where I'm at on it, because
me and Machito got it.
Matt Booty wants to show Fable, but the devs don't want to show Fable yet. And so it's like, I would prefer the devs to make the deciding factor rather than the publisher.
Agreed.
And I'm okay with that, because guess what? Matt Booty said something about Fable. At least he said something.
Yeah, but
at least he's talking.
Like for how
Nobody knows
long
what
are the
components
devs
they're working
going to
on.
make
Nobody
a game?
knows what's a Valve
75%
doing.
want to
You know?
see,
No,
do not want
the
to see
poll
it.
is wrong. I think you trick people into voting the wrong way.
I
By,
wouldn't
that
do
was a
that.
very weird poll. That was a very
yeah,
weird poll.
yeah. I think you did it so that everyone would vote. Yes, and the answer really was no.
But sorry, that was just a stutter.
No, good, man. No, good.
For some
No,
people, the only
that was
polls
half
they're good at
stutter.
are stripper
That was a little bit
polls.
of a stutter.
Oh my gosh.
It was
No,
just
good.
a,
Also,
again, for me, and this is my point, disagree with me all you want. That's the whole point of free speech and freedom and all that. But I'm just saying, one thing for me that fuels the I don't want to hear past it is a lot of the crying. Because I hear a lot of
So
people, and maybe
that
it's the
is
wrong
true.
word, that will
No, you're
complain
right.
and complain and will not
Yep.
stop until they
That is
hear
one of
about
my
it.
biggest. That was one of my biggest pet peeves about gamers. That people, excuse me, will just complain about
And
every little freaking thing. Not even just that, but then make assumptions, and now the
yeah,
assumption is fact. Like
see
I
that,
used to have
and
guys that would make it like, well, the devs are being lazy. I'm like, how do you know this?
no, they're
You
not.
you can't assume something you don't see or you haven't heard. That's just me though. I'm very literal.
Yeah.
So if you
See,
say certain things, I take it very literal what you mean. So I try not to say things like, "Oh, it's 20,000 guys working there," because that's not literally what I mean. I know it's exaggeration, but I'm just using something in general. But I don't think that you make that kind of assumption that guys are being lazy or they need kicking them behind to get working. And I'm like, what do you
no.
think they just sit there? Like it's not what you picture at your job. Their job is different from everybody else's job, and I don't think that game development is a science that is down packed. Like yeah, we this and that, and the game comes out. Doesn't work like that.
No.
There are
Yeah.
always problems with games. So I
I
think that
Correct.
sometimes we miss. Yeah, good.
I agree with that, Bushido, but then I think it's hard because I think a lot of people see some studios that just are just like inherently really good at it. Like Insomniac, for example, right? They just crank
Mm.
games and they crank out
I
good
admit,
games
you
like
are 100% right with
consistently.
that one.
Well,
Any
You know,
other
Insomniac
so
any
has to
any
follow a
other one you could have
certain
mentioned?
parameter.
Any other one you could have mentioned? I could point out a time where that studio had an issue with getting a game out on time. Insomniac, I think, is the only studio. I'm only studio that I know of that not I remember at least. I don't remember any time they had to delay a game. I don't remember any time hearing
no,
that they had a
yeah.
problem pushing the game out. I don't know what maybe it's just the way the flow
I
of the
think
information
they
goes.
need to be. I
It's
think they need to
fire.
study. They need to study that studio like an animal
Yes,
in the wild and like
yes.
figure out what they're
I
doing over
disagree.
there. What? You're
Boba
crazy,
Fett
dude?
I
Come on.
Gaming
disagree.
brought up a
Stop.
good
And here's
point
If
my
in the
point.
chat.
And we talked about
if
this
any game on
before.
PlayStation that Insomniac made was on Xbox, it would be hyped to hell and back, dude. No way.
See,
If
I
Wolverine was on
disagree on the
Xbox,
delay for a few
it would
reasons.
be hype. It would be hype as hell. Come on. Like
Okay,
regardless of what everybody thinks, like there's no
Insomniac is a
way.
great studio, but one of the things I've noticed is, and we've talked about it before. You notice the last couple of games have been Spider-Man. Spider-Man's great, but you know why they get it out so easily? Because they have it. They don't have to change anything about the layout. It's the same New York we've been doing for the past, couple of games. So no wonder
Okay.
they get it out on time. So that's an
Well,
argument to make.
well, I mean, why
That
do you
is,
think
yeah.
Horizon comes out so well? Horizon's the same. It's the same basic premise, just a different area, different vegetation.
Just
Yeah,
just a different
exactly.
area. You know,
They've got too,
Spider-Man's
though.
just the same area. It's just different.
Same
Different execution.
cars, same sky, same ground. I mean, everybody can change stuff and we can simplify it like that. But I'm just saying, me personally,
That's a good point
I
too.
know for a fact that most Xbox gamers, if Wolverine had been announced by Insomniac and by some wizardry was coming strictly to Xbox, we would be very excited about that game. I would be very excited about that game.
So it would be.
So I don't know. I'm just saying that I give them props where Insomniac's a great studio and they're doing things that not a lot of other people can do, and I do think that it's just hard to hear
Context.
other studios that are struggling with projects and things that aren't coming out with the cadence that maybe people are expecting. You know what I mean? Whereas
Another argument. Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
Well, I mean, from 2018 to 2023, you know what I mean? Like that's 5 years. Let's say you had something in development, At this point, we should have some information, right? If we're working on something in the 5-year span. Your most AAA games are like what, 3 to 7 years of development time. So that's a good right in the middle of like knowing whether or not you're going to have something or whatever, right? To have to announce or what have you. My thing is it's just a little concerning. I just want to know that the games that we've been shown that I got hyped about at that E3 that they did so well in 2019 are still alive and healthy.
Yeah, I can understand that sentiment. And again, the one thing I'm going to say this year to everybody, because it's, I think it's going to be significant myself, is let's wait to see the big Xbox Bethesda showcase and see what they got to show off. Because I have a feeling myself that we're going to see a lot. But, we're not there yet. So I say let's not make assumptions. Let's not say, this or that. Let's just wait and see. Because, that's why I love the 12 months. We get an update consistently every 12 months on what's coming up. So it looks like that's what they're sticking to.
I can't wait to see it that way.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what's going on.
So you guys ready to wind down for the night?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did want to highlight the point that Boba Fett Gaming said in the chat. The pro of seeing an exclusive game 5 years out is that if not everybody has that the cash to pop out for a console a week before the release of a game. So it's nice in some instances for people to save for that console, assuming that you're currently a single ecosystem gamer. And it's nice. And it gives us content creators something to talk about when we see that. But we are going to wind down here, ladies and gents. It is a little after 11 o'clock here, and bed calls.
Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby needs his beauty sleep. So we're going to run down the panel here. Thank you, everybody in the chat that's shown up.
And stayed.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys.
Fabio Amaram.
There we go. He got it much better right now. Awesome.
Sir, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, always a pleasure to be here. You can find me not just on the Games and Life podcast as a panel member with this bunch of crazy people, but you can find me as well on Twitter as at FPOAmorin97, on Xbox as BuffonLizard8, and you can find me on the XPN Network YouTube channel where I can be a guest on any show there, as well as I'm the host of the Dev Overtime show.
All right.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bushido, where can people find you?
You can find me here on the KY Bobby Show every Thursday at 9. And Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. No, not Nintendo. But Twitter. And,
Not Nintendo. Fuck
yeah,
Nintendo.
not Nintendo. What?
Leave Nintendo
No,
alone.
that's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying.
It was just like where the games matter in other platforms, except if you are
It's not
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Leave Nintendo alone, guys.
But you can find me in all those places with Mr. Bushido and Seven.
All right.
That's it.
Mr. Noof Nukem, sir, where can people find you?
Well, in a whole lot less places nowadays, since if you didn't know, I canceled Good Morning Xbox after last week's show, so I am down to basically this podcast at the present time. I am working on a new podcast, which should be debuting in the next month or two. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me, and I hope to get a little bit more streaming and stuff in over the next little while. But that's where to find me and Noof Nukem pretty much everywhere. Boom, boom, come on. It's Noof Nukem leaving the room.
All right. I know if
Somebody's having a good chuckle.
if Noof started to stream some of his gameplay on YouTube, Bob would watch it. I would.
You sound like that.
Our esteemed guest this evening, Red Dead Panda, ma'am, where could people find you at?
I suddenly got like 5 years older. I appreciate the appreciate you trying to be respectful,
trying
but I
to
feel
be
like I've
polite.
aged 5 years. I know. I'm just teasing.
Little Earth is supposed to be a lady. That's what you have to call her. a lady.
It's from
If you've
Kentucky.
heard me
You
on the
can't help it.
podcast, you'll be like, "No lady talks like that." Um, um, you can thank you. Just want to say thank you for letting me be a guest on the show this week. It's awesome. I've wanted to guest for a while. But you can find me on Twitter, and you can find me on Xbox, and you can find me over on the Gamers Initiative podcast on Elite Gaming Gurus channel. Yeah, we've got a show tomorrow, and we've got Colt Eastwood and Jen from Windows Central guesting tomorrow, which is really, really cool. But
Yes.
yeah.
We had Colt Eastwood last week. Very classy guest. You are going to have a blast.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try and contain myself on language.
We had him while he was still on pain pills because of his dislocated shoulder, so it was funny.
It's funny.
I can imagine.
He like walked off to go get some ibuprofen and didn't say anything to anybody, and we're all just like, Colt, are you there? Colt, somebody
Hey,
check
man.
on Colt, quick.
At least you got him on. I tried to get him on Gaming After Dark and Good Morning Xbox for probably like 3 years and could never get the guy.
Oh.
Yeah, scheduling
Yep.
is messed up.
He always
Hey,
had a reason. He never got on my show.
Did Bobby, did you say ibuprofen?
Yes, ibuprofen. He went to go get some ibuprofen.
No.
Ibuprofen.
I'm going to rewind this. You did not say ibuprofen. You said ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. The Last of Us Part 2. Ibuprofen.
Oh,
That's
goodness.
what you take. Abby's about to give it to you with a
That's
dildo.
right, ibuprofen. That's what Joel needed to get rid of his pain. Ultimus Gaming, sir, where can people find you at?
Right now. Don't give up nothing.
As always, you can find me on Twitter at Ultimus Gaming. Always tweeting, some hot takes down there, just like talking about E3 today, like I just posted. And just, spitting facts. So, just
Nice.
usual place always, yeah.
Power Man 4K, also known as Weapon X Machina. Sir, where can people find you at when you're not on the side of the highway?
only known as Weapon X as far as the clan stuff is concerned. Still Power Man 4K on Xbox. Still Power Man 4K on Twitter. You guys can find me here on Thursdays, and if not, I'm probably like chilling playing a game. So hit me up if you guys are bored.
And this is KY Bob, host of the Game Set Love podcast. I would like to thank everybody for coming out this evening to listen to a bunch of gamers rant about their feelings on gaming. Everybody like, share, subscribe, tell a buddy or two. Have a good weekend and game on.